Okay, you're ready to go.
Okay, this is the Dayton Conservation meeting for April 15, 2021. Call the meeting to order at 7:03 p.m. In attendance for tonight, we have Charlie Mello, Jim Digits, Jack Crawford, Jim Souza, Kevin, our associate and our agent, Lisa Caledonia. Okay, I'd like to open the meeting by having someone make a motion on the minutes of our previous meeting dated 3/18/21.
Before you make the motion, there's an omission in the minutes. I didn't mention under Hunter Hill that we approved the 53G account for that project.
Are there any other alterations to the minutes? Including that statement, is there a motion to accept?
Motion to approve last month's minutes.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, that was, motion was made by Jim Souza, seconded by
Jack
who seconded
Crawford.
it? Charlie?
Jack Crawford.
Jack Crawford, and
Yeah.
and it was unanimous. Okay.
Jim,
first-
real quick, you should do the roll call on each one, moving forward,
Okay, well, all right.
moving forward.
Okay, Charlie,
Aye. Aye.
Jack,
Aye.
and Jim Souza?
Aye.
Okay, passed. Okay, on a continued hearings, we have Strawberry Fields. It's a 40B for a 116 unit housing development, notice of intent proposal. Marty Nova of Beta Group submitted a peer review requesting alterations to the plan submitted with the notice of intent as of 4/12. The applicant's engineering group has not replied to that peer review. Is there any information on that? Are they?
They
here?
they have asked for a continuance.
Okay, is there a motion to continue?
I make a motion to continue until the May meeting.
That was Jim Souza making the motion. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
That was
Jack Crawford.
seconded by Jack Crawford. All in favor? Charlie,
Aye.
Jack,
Aye.
Jim.
Aye.
Okay,
May meeting is May 20th, just so everybody knows.
Thank you.
May 20th, okay. Okay, next on the agenda is Long Built Homes. Notice of intent for development of Hunters Hill subdivision. Evan Watson represents the applicant for this project. They are in the process of redelineating wetlands as requested by Lisa Caledonia, our agent. We should discuss picking a consultant to review this development and setting up a 53G account. Okay, what do we have going on?
They've requested a continuance too, so I don't know if we can make any discussions.
Well, I just have one thing for the record. Long Built Homes dropped off a check for the 53G and the amount of $5,000 today.
Okay, is there a motion to continue?
I make a motion to continue Long Built Homes until May 20.
Okay, Jim Souza, motion, is there a second?
I'll second it, Jim.
Jack Crawford, second, all in favor?
Aye. Aye
Charlie,
from Charlie.
Jim
Aye.
Souza, Jack,
Aye.
passes unanimously. Okay, and again, that's to May 20th. Okay, new hearings. A request for determination of applicability from the Massachusetts Electric Company to install 14 new poles and remove 3 dead trees and 16 live trees with diameters ranging from 3 inches to 15 inches to facilitate the pole installations within the road layout on the south side of Tremont Street within the 100-foot buffer zone of the delineated wetlands and inland bank. The activities along Elm Street referenced in the RDA cover letter are pole replacements included in the RDA to notify us of the work. However, they fall under an exempt activity. This work is required to upgrade the feeder to connect with an approved solar system. So let's deal with the RDA to install the poles and remove trees.
And there's a correction here that you mentioned Elm Street. That's a typo. It should have been Tremont Street.
No, it's not a typo.
It isn't?
It's, no, it's part of this. They notified us as a maintenance activity, correct,
Oh.
Samantha?
Okay.
I double checked with Heidi and that's what she told me, because I said to her, isn't the project on Tremont Street? And she said it is, but within this application, we are notifying you of an exempt activity on Elm Street to replace poles. There's no tree
Okay.
removal. So. that should
Okay,
be
so
correct.
that's just a separate paragraph then that they stuck in with their RDA. Okay, let us hear from the Massachusetts Electric Company.
Hi, good evening, everyone. My name is Samantha Walker with BSC Group. I'm presenting this RDA application on behalf of the Massachusetts Electric Company. MECO, as we just stated, is proposing to install 14 new distribution poles along Tremont Street. The new distribution poles are part of a larger maintenance project to upgrade the feeder 19W74 assets in order to interconnect the BWC Greenbrook LLC's solar energy storage generation system to MECO's distribution system. The new poles are proposed along the road shoulder of Tremont Street within the road layout adjacent to 903 Tremont Street. Project activities will be located within the 100-foot buffer zone to the bordering vegetated wetlands and inland bank, locally regulated 25-foot no disturb zone, and the 50-foot no build zone. The project activities will be located within the existing disturbed road margin and will result in minimal ground disturbance, which is approximately 4 square feet of disturbance per pole. Best management practices will be implemented to avoid adverse impacts to the adjacent BBW, and disturbed areas will be restored upon the completion of work. The proposed installations will require tree removals within the 100-foot buffer zone. Therefore, this work is subject to review under the Wetlands Protection Act and local bylaw. We respectfully request a negative determination under the Wetlands Protection Act and Dayton Conservation Commission regulations and bylaws.
Samantha,
Okay,
can
I
I
have a
request
question.
that you share your screen and you show the commission a plan of where these are gonna be?
It says the host has disabled participant screen sharing.
Okay, I think
Let me
Laura,
see if- Yeah, let me see if I can edit that right now, if you don't mind holding 1 second, please.
Mr. Digits,
Yes,
I got a question. When the votes have been called, Bill Frenette's not voting. I can see him. He's here.
he's here
I
as a
don't know if
butter.
he's- I don't think so.
Yeah, he's right next to Lisa on my screen. Lisa, what did you say?
Here as in a butter.
Hi, Bill.
Hi, Nancy.
Hi, can
So-
you check if you have the ability to share your screen? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut in. I just think it changed right now.
It still says I do not.
Let me try one more thing. I'm sorry.
So to get back to the proper format, Bill's a member of the Concom. He is present. He should be recorded as being present, but then a statement should be made why he's not participating. He can say it's because he's in a butter or something, because that way, whenever you get through the business that he is an abutter to, he can come back into the meeting, but he's definitely present. So he's got to be listed as being present.
Okay, will do. I was unaware that he was there.
Okay, well, also, the first two items, Hunter's Hill and Strawberry Fields, he's not abutters to those.
Well, you have to talk to him about that.
Bill, do you understand what needs to be done?
Yes, I do.
Okay, so the record should show that Mr. Fournette is present. He should have been allowed to vote on Strawberry Fields and Long-Built Homes. And whatever the one is that he is the abutter to is the one he should indicate by making a statement. I am not going to participate in the discussion on whatever it is because I am an abutter or whatever it is, okay?
No, that's not true. That's not right, Nancy. I am here to discuss the property that I'm on a butter to.
Right, but as an abutter,
That's why I'm
not
here.
as the-
I'm here
not
to
as the-
discuss that.
Okay, but wait a minute. Let's take this in the order that you got it on the agenda. You should have voted on Strawberry Fields. You should have
Yes.
been allowed to vote on Long-Built Homes.
Yes,
We're now talking about the putting the poles on Tremont Street for the solar farm on the Cabral Farm, correct?
that's right.
All right, you can participate in this. When we come to the item that you are an abutter to, and you want to speak as an abutter, that's when you state, I am not going to be voting on this. I do wish to speak as an abutter. That's what you have to do. You can't be ignored.
Thank you.
Okay.
Sylvia is also here and on the agenda also. And she has some things she would like to say when we
Okay.
get to my.
All right, so she's not on the commission, so that's not a problem. It's just that when you get to that item, when Mr. Digits calls that particular agenda item, that's when you make the statement. You are not going to participate as a member of the commission, but you wish to speak as an abutter, and then you and Sylvia and anybody else that wants to speak should speak, okay?
Very good, thank you.
You're welcome.
Bill, shall I continue to be acting chair then, since
You're
you
doing
have-
very well, Jim, continue.
Okay, let's go back to Nancy Walker. Nancy, sorry for the interruption. You are there, correct?
Yes, I'm here.
Thank you. All right, did you have time to bring up a map of the location of these poles?
Yes, I can share my screen right now.
Okay, because that was something that I was going to be asking you to do.
Yep, so this is the map that was submitted with the RDA, and it shows the 14 poles that are being installed along Tremont Street, as well as the proposed sediment controls in red here, sort of horseshoe controls to protect the adjacent resource areas.
Okay, I've got a couple questions here. You show the poles on a colorful map here, but somewhere in here, there's got to be Middle Street showing and William Street showing so that everybody can see where these poles actually are. I'm assuming that they are to the west of the Silver Farms in that wetland area.
So these are the poles that are under the jurisdiction of the RDA in the Wetlands Protection Act and the bylaw. The other poles are, as far as I'm aware, outside of resource areas.
No, but I'm looking for a location of these poles. I know you're saying Tremont Street, but Tremont Street is about 2 miles long.
I have a locus map here.
Yeah, unfortunately, the locust map was not complete on that one, but so yeah, there you go. There it is. Jim, that should
Okay,
answer your
it's-
question.
Okay, that shows it very well where the poles are.
Where do the poles sit, Jim? I don't have, I'm on the flip phone here.
Okay, all right, let's go up to William Street. You're gonna
Uh,
take, at William Street, you take a right-hand turn, so you're now going east. There's
Yeah.
about 3 houses there. After
Yeah.
those houses, there's a stretch of upland and wetlands. It's in that area, and it goes all the way almost to Royal Silver's property, to the
Okay.
farm.
All right.
And is that river named there, Samantha? Do you know? Can you see that?
I don't think it is. Let me check on the ER map. I don't think it was named.
I think it's Sunken Brook.
Yeah, I think it is too, but
Sunken goes by the landfill.
it's oh, I think it's part of maybe Papa Squash. Could that be true?
No,
Okay, so it feeds into the Segregated anyway.
Well, it must lead into Papa Squash
Yeah,
and then to
If you-
Segregated.
yeah, feeds into the Segregated south, so east, west of Middle Street and, yeah, north of Briggs.
It must go out behind Evangelo's farm and tie in, down there above 100 acres, correct?
Oh, this is on the other, Evangelos farm is on the other side. Oh, wait a minute. Yes, you're right. You're right. Yes, Evangelos farm is on Middle Street.
On Middle Street, that actually runs almost all the way up to William Street, Jim, but it probably cuts through Evangelos and then out, behind the old Santos homestead and probably into the 100 acres,
Correct.
Briggs Street
Correct.
area, and then ties into the Segregated River.
Yes, you are right.
Yeah, so this is within an ORW, correct, Samantha?
No, I don't
Yeah.
think that is. No,
Yeah, are you sure?
it's in the surface water protection zone, but it is not in an ORW.
Okay.
There may be wetlands near here that are ORW, but this one is not. This particular one.
There's no fill in the wetland anyhow, correct?
Correct.
I'm actually gonna pull up Oliver and take a look myself while we're here. And what about the rare species? Did Heidi talk to you at all about rare species in this area or?
I mean, according to this map, there are no rare species in this area that is under the subject of the RDA. Sorry.
Okay. I think they leave the roads off anyway.
Yeah, I have seen that before.
Is this on the opposite side of the existing poles or up there now?
There's
There's
been
no poles
stakes,
there.
there's stakes
think-
alongside the road.
Well, I thought the electric went up the north side of, Tremont Street. No?
Okay, Samantha, it is actually within an ORW, but you're not placing any fill in the wetlands, so. But I just, want to note that for the record.
Yeah, that's weird because usually our mapping, it's on here, the layered, but it does not, we pull directly from Oliver. It doesn't show as being,
Well, yeah,
or maybe it is and I just can't tell from this freaking map.
so.
Yeah,
the
I think
O-
you're right, actually. I think that, yeah, you're right. I'm sorry. I couldn't tell from the
It's
map.
okay.
It is.
The
an OR.
ORW, contains a lot of roads and it's just the species mapping that doesn't. I believe.
I apologize. Our symbology made it hard for me to tell them.
Yeah, those maps, I almost wish they'd give us a couple of them when they have that many poles, because it all being highlighted doesn't really help, you know?
Right, yeah.
Jim, do you want to see if anyone has any questions?
Okay, it's sort of been open. Does anyone have any questions for this project? Okay, is there a motion either to give a negative determination or to require a full NOI to be submitted? I'm waiting.
I'll make a motion.
to,
Okay, go ahead. Am I talking to myself?
Go ahead, Charlie.
I will make a motion that we accept the RDA application.
So
I'll
that's a
second
negative
that motion.
determination. Charlie, that's a negative determination?
Yes.
Okay, is there a second?
I second.
Okay, all in favor? Let's start with Charlie.
Aye.
Aye,
Okay, Bill, aye.
aye,
Okay, Jack
Aye.
and Jim Souza.
Aye.
Okay, passed unanimously for a negative determination.
Thank
And
you.
I-
Have a nice evening.
Samantha, I just asked that, you know, once the negative determination is received and, you know, I get a notification once the erosion controls are in so that I can take a look. Do you know if they'll be in before the trees are cut?
No, but I can find that out for you.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'd like them to be in prior, you know, just in case any of those trucks go a little too far off after a big rainstorm or something, you know?
So you want notification prior to tree removals? Oh, you want the sediment controls in prior to tree removals and then give notification that the sediment controls are in place?
Yeah, yes, please.
Okay, great.
I'll put that in the RDA, but
Okay. All right, I will let Heidi know. Thank you so much.
thank you.
Okay, now we have to discuss and approve an extension of an order of conditions issued to 2684 County Street, file number 17-380. Okay, Lisa?
Yeah, so 2684 County Street, I've been working with Joe Mata on this since I started. Basically, the deal there is they're installing their replication area after the house is built in this case. And they need 2 growing seasons once that's done for it to establish and show success. So he needs another year because it's about to expire in May. Basically, if we could please, you know, issue that, that would be very helpful. Joe has been good about realizing that they've gone outside of their limit of work a bit, creating the replication area. So they cleared a little too much. So in that case, I've helped Joe come up with a better planting schedule than the ones that were proposed. Let me see. I'll tell you exactly. So basically, the plan, it showed a very small amount of shrubs, just a couple of trees and a lot of shrubs and seed. And I've asked for a lot more based on the area of disturbance. So they're up to around 3,300, 3,400 square feet of replication area. And I have just asked for 75 shrubs. So 25 high bush blueberry, 25 winterberry, 25 mayberry at 3 to 4 feet in height, container plantings, and the wetland seed mix. So I'm working with his contractor to make sure that those are what I've required, and I'm gonna see them before they go in. Also, the replication area wasn't graded properly. It was graded about 1.5 feet above where it needed to be. So if he had planted that, that would have never established properly. So they were good about fixing that. I don't know if Joe's here. I don't think he's here to talk about it at all. I didn't ask him to be, but in any case, in order to complete the replication area, they need another year.
Okay, so you're asking for a 1-year extension to the order of conditions.
Yeah, they're asking for 1 year. So
Okay.
they just need two more growing seasons to extend it out, and that'll bring it to, right now it's extended to May 31st, 21. So if we extend it to May 31st, 22, or even April 15th, 22 should work.
Well, probably keep it till May 31st. And that way we're guaranteed warm weather. I mean, look at here, they're going to get snow in central and western Mass tonight. Is there any other discussion? Okay, I'm looking for a motion to extend the order of conditions to May 31st, 2022. Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to extend it.
I'll second
That's
it.
wonderful. Okay. Who was that? Bill?
Yes.
Yes.
You made the motion?
No, I made the motion. I started to.
Okay, Charlie made the motion to extend. Is there a second?
I second it.
Okay, Jim Souza seconded. Okay, in favor. Do we have Charlie? Yes.
Aye.
Okay, Jim,
Aye.
Bill,
Aye. Can you hear me?
yes.
You did? Well, how come you didn't hear me second that motion from Charlie?
It was all together. Everything was together, and it was just, nothing came through as clear. I didn't know.
All right, I just wanted to make sure you can hear me.
I can hear, but everyone spoke at once, and I could not tell.
That's okay, Jim.
Okay, so we have Bill, Charlie, Jack, did I get you?
No, you didn't, but I'm an aye.
Okay, so unanimous approval. Okay, next on the agenda is a vote to implement a rule allowing commissions to use Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 44, 53G accounts to fund wetland consultants and other professionals as needed. Okay, that's
It's
Charlie or Lisa?
this commission.
I'm sorry?
That's this commission.
This
I should have been
commission,
more
right.
specific, yes.
Okay,
We have been using this 53G account to hire consultants since 2003. We have, I don't know whether you all received a copy of the town council's opinion on use of that particular account in this case. Our town accountant seems to think that even though the zoning board of appeals waives all of our bylaw, all of the bylaw, that section 3 of the bylaw that deals with consultant fees applies to this case. I don't know how to get the reasoning, but that's his opinion. And that's the reason why we're going through this. Apparently, we never did actually approve the use of 53J back when it started. It really needed to be voted. It needed rules, and it needed to be recorded with the town clerk. So that's why we're here tonight. That's why this is on the agenda.
Okay, could you explain how, what will happen? You said to vote to implement a rule allowing this commission to use. Well, if it's already a law, Massachusetts general law,
Yes, it is.
then we can use it. It's the law.
But we need to use it properly. We need to vote on it. We need to get it recorded with the town clerk.
Okay, so if we make a motion then to accept the Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 4453G account, that would be sufficient.
Yeah, I have a motion written right here.
Now, this will give us greater funding on these projects.
Charlie,
Well, yes.
in
Yes, Jack.
that 53G law that you have from the state, that states in there that we can hire consultants, engineers, whoever we need to do whatever we need, correct?
Correct.
Yeah, okay. Well, as long as that's in there.
Okay, is
because
that
like you
without
say-
limitation of funding?
Yeah, well, I mean, they're trying to get around it, Jim. You know what I mean? It says, well, it's for consultants, but you're hiring engineers, and then next time they're telling you it's an engineer, but now it's a consultant. As long as we got authority to hire whoever we need with that 53G account, that's what we need.
Well, I just wanted to make sure it's codified, corrected, so there's no
Okay.
more.
Then, do you wish to make a motion, Charlie?
Yes, I've got a motion written and prepared.
Read the motion out fully, please.
Okay. A motion to implement a rule enabling the commission to use Mass General Law, Chapter 4453G, to hire and fund wetland consultants and other expert services of its choosing to review complicated project proposed and filings before the commission. This account will, wait a minute. This account will be established by the town treasurer, and this fund expended for carrying out its responses in its under the law. Any excess funds, including interest, shall be returned to the applicant upon completion of the project. A final report shall be made to the applicant. The town accountant shall submit an annual report of the special account to the chief administrative official of the town of Dayton for their review, and said report shall be published in the town annual and the annual report, and a copy submitted annually to the director of the Bureau of Accounts.
Okay, is there a second?
I second.
I'll second that.
I couldn't hear who that was.
Jack Crawford, I'll second the motion.
Second the motion. Is there any more discussion on it? Okay, let's take a roll call vote on it. Charlie?
Aye.
Jack?
Aye.
Jim Souza?
Aye.
Bill Frenette?
Aye.
Passes unanimously. Okay, next on the agenda, it says discuss removal of paragraph 3 in section 3 of the Dayton and Wetland Protection Bylaw. Let me read that section. At the time a permit applicant is received or at any time during the hearing process, the commission is authorized to require an applicant to pay the fee for specific expert engineering and other consultant services deemed necessary by the commission to come to a final decision on the applicant. The commission will select the consultant in question and the applicant will pay that person directly.
Yes,
Okay.
but there's limits. There are
Okay,
limits
there's
on-
also limits on
Ah.
the amount of money. Okay, the next paragraph goes and it talks about the maximum consultant fees. I assume that what we just voted on does not have a maximum fee.
No, it does not.
Charlie, am I
No,
right?
it doesn't.
Okay.
No, it's a
so-
53G account
Okay.
funded by the
so-
applicant.
Okay, so if we remove this paragraph, this paragraph on the fee, we would be under totally the state law. Am I correct?
Well, it would prevent anybody else from, that applies for a 40B to use that against us.
Okay. Well, but the state law overrides the local bylaw.
No,
Well,
our local
okay.
bylaw,
You can be more
When I-
stringent.
when our bylaw was first used, there were no 53Gs available for conservation commissions. They were only available in the state law for planning boards, zoning boards of appeal, and some other agency. That was it.
Okay.
In 2006, the Commonwealth, in 2003, actually, the Commonwealth included conservation commissions. In 2006, they upgraded the inclusion to include, again, for conservation commissions. And that's why the thing is antiquated. It shouldn't be in there. Bishop apparently, or maybe his consultant, decided that reading our bylaw, that was what it should be. And our town accountant, our town council, for some reason, agrees with him, and I can't understand the rationale. All of our
Okay.
bylaw was waived by the zoning board of appeals. All of it. How can only part of it be allowed to be used by the applicant?
Okay, so if we vote to remove that, we will automatically have the 53G account that the state set up.
We have a 53G account now, but it'll be a legal 53G account.
Okay, so,
Well, Mr. Chairman, can I speak first?
Sure.
go ahead.
I'm not sure the rules on this, but I believe if you're changing fees on, or changing the bylaw, you may have to have a public hearing.
No, we have a public hearing right now.
This-
No,
I-
no.
One that is posted in the paper, so anyone can speak on it as well.
Well, it was posted in our posting
No,
at Town
no.
Hall.
Mr. Digits, please.
Go ahead, Nancy.
Okay, you're talking about changing a bylaw. The only way a bylaw can be changed is, first of all, you draft it and get the language that you need. Then you put an ad in the Gazette and you hold a public hearing because you have to get feedback from the public. After you have your hearing and you get the feedback, you might want to make changes depending on what you find out, or you may not. Once you get through the public hearing, you give a draft of that bylaw change, whether it's an amendment or a new bylaw. You give it to the Board of Selectmen and ask them to put it on an upcoming town meeting warrant. Bylaw changes, amendments, or new bylaws have to be voted at a town meeting. What you're having tonight is your regular public meeting. This is not a public hearing. You haven't put it in the paper. And you can't vote to change a bylaw at one of your meetings. You can work on it, you can take it under advisement, but you cannot vote to change it. It will not be in effect until town meeting votes it. After town meeting votes it, it goes to the Attorney General, and the Attorney General has the final say on all bylaws.
And you have to file it with the town clerk as well.
After you get the final approval, or,
Correct.
and if it's denied by the AG, you have to go back and make the changes that he she objected to.
So there's a lot of things we have to do ahead of time, but we can obviously discuss it. But like Nancy mentioned, there are certain steps regarding this.
Well, let
I
us
want-
then
Could
prepare.
I read a section of our bylaw, please?
Go ahead, Charlie.
Okay. Section 8, regulations. Additions, deletions, and alterations to the above regulations may be made through public notice and public hearing. The commission shall then promulgate rules and regulations to effectuate the purposes of the bylaw when voted and filed with the town clerk. Failure by the commission to promulgate such rules and regulations or legal declaration of the their invalidity by a court of law shall not suspend or invalidate the effect of the bylaw. We don't have to go before town meeting with this change. And they recommend, MAC recommends exactly what Nancy said. Notice, public notice, advertising in the paper, having it at a regular meeting, and discussion. But we don't have to go, we don't need any more approval than that. We can change our own rules without going through the town bylaw, the town meeting process.
Based on what?
Based on this regulation.
Oh, excuse me. I need to clarify something for you.
Okay,
I'll use the stormwater because it's the one I'm most familiar with. We have a stormwater bylaw. That basically states the requirements for stormwater management as expressed by the EPA. The really important part is not the bylaw, it's the regulations. The regulations contain the meat of how you enforce the bylaw. If you are talking about changing a regulation, you do not have to put it in the newspaper. You have to have a public meeting, not a public hearing, a public meeting where you explain to the public, we want to change these regulations, or we have some new regulations. In that particular case, you have the public meeting, you get public input, and then the commission, or in my case, it would be the Stormwater Committee, Board of Health, would make the decision about finalizing the regulations. Don't confuse regulations with bylaw. You're talking bylaw at one point, and Charlie, you're talking regulations. You've got to separate them.
Yeah.
it's a regulation that we want to change.
All right, then stop saying bylaw. Then don't use the word bylaw. Regulations for if tonight, if you decide to make the changes in the regulations that were just read, you've got to have a separate public meeting indicating that you're going to make changes in the regulations. You want the public to know it. You don't have to put it in the newspaper, but you have to have it. You could actually have that at the beginning of a regular Concom meeting, but you've got to signify it's a special hearing that you're having. Okay, special public meeting to address that regulation.
That's fine with me.
Yeah, correct. You would open up the meeting as a regulation. You would listen to any discussion, then you would close the meeting, and then the board would vote. So
That's okay. That's my take.
Right, and I think what
Okay.
Charlie's trying to say is that within our bylaw, we have regulations because way back then, that was the first MACC model there was. So we used that way back.
No, don't say within the bylaw. You have a bylaw and you have regulations to enforce the bylaw. Don't
Right.
say within the bylaw you have regulations because you're putting them together. And that's just going to be grief. You can't do that. The other thing I would suggest is, I read that legal opinion too, and I couldn't figure out how Attorney Costa came to that conclusion. I
Neither
think
can I.
I think the Concom should contact town council and say, we want a detailed explanation of how the ZBA could waive all of the rules and regs, your rules and regs and your bylaw. And this one sticks. It doesn't make sense to me either. I would ask town council to clarify it.
Okay, all right. So Nancy, so what we have to do then is at our next meeting, post in the paper that we're gonna have a,
No, just post it on our
Not the
agenda.
paper,
Yeah.
not the paper.
That you're gonna have a separate hearing on what he's proposing. You would address that in the beginning of the meeting, you would close it, you would vote, and then you'd open up a new conservation meeting with the regular agenda.
Charlie, did you post that for tonight?
Yes, I did.
So
On the
if,
agenda, but not as a legal, not in the newspaper.
It doesn't have to be in a
No,
newspaper.
no, it should be a separate notice given to the town clerk, all right? For example, you post your agenda, you give it to the town clerk, it gets posted. What I would do is have a separate notice to the town clerk that on a certain date at a certain time, you are having a public hearing, public meeting to discuss changes in the bylaw,
No, regulations.
the regular, we're all getting this. Start over again. Separate notice to the town clerk. You're going to have a public meeting to discuss changes in the regulation. And if you can fit it all on there, I would post that too. So anyone looking at it will know exactly what it is you're going to discuss. So you post that with a
Sure.
date and time, and then you post your meeting also. And you, as Mr. Bernardo said, if you set this thing up for 7 o'clock on a given night, you have your public meeting, you gather input, and then you end it. Then you can move into your regular Concom meeting, okay?
Good. I'm happy with that, Nancy.
Okay, Charlie.
You can,
Okay,
Lisa, we can have it all on the same night.
Yes,
We can have it 7 o'clock public meeting, then they close it and they vote, and then whoever the chairman is will at that night will open up a new conservation meeting on that day. So it's really simple.
I think we ought to do that. We'll have a special meeting in 2 weeks. Discussion on this so we can vote on it.
Well, I mean, we still have to talk about what we want for these changes. And, is it just that?
Yes.
It's just
Yeah,
that.
it's just Lisa.
Just that. The rest of it is
Right.
fine.
Yeah. I'd be willing to have a special meeting in 2 weeks.
Okay.
Could do it that way as well.
Yeah, well, we'll have a meeting on it. Well,
okay, so we
That-
are now officially covered by the state 53G, but we want to eliminate our fee structure in our bylaw. Or
Right.
in our
the regulation, Jim.
regulations.
Regulation.
Okay, when would that, when do we want to do that? In 2 weeks or would we have,
It's up to the commission whenever they, decide they can vote on
or
it.
we wait till the 20th of May?
Majority, whatever, Jim.
What's everyone's opinion on that? When should we do it?
I say do it at the regular meeting.
Okay. Charlie, what do you think?
That's good enough. I'd like to get it done sooner, but the regular meeting will handle it.
Okay. All right, so we'll put that as a separate item on a separate agenda for May 20th.
And I'll post it accordingly.
Okay. So right now, though, we still are covered fully by the state Massachusetts general laws.
Well, we've never used that fee schedule for any hearing that I'm familiar with, and I've been on here a long time.
Okay,
Yeah.
so we're just going to eliminate those last two paragraphs then. That's what it comes down to. Well, you're gonna write it up, Charlie, right?
Yes.
Okay.
And Charlie is meeting with town council on Tuesday, if anybody has any further questions, right, Charlie?
Yes. Town council and the town administrator.
Okay, are we set on that for now? Wait, there's no other changes that we'd want to do to our regulations?
No, it's fine the way it is, except for that. And it was fine with that in it too until this applicant decided to use it against us.
Okay,
So I have a question. How's it gonna look if we don't have section 3? You know, I mean, all of a sudden, we just have sections 1, 2, 4, but we don't have.
That's only part of section 3.
Okay, so we're gonna keep the rest of it. Okay,
Yeah, it says we want to remove paragraph 3 from section 3.
so it's just paragraph 3, but we'll talk about
Yeah.
that.
and the fee structure,
Right.
Yeah, well, that is a fee structure, paragraph 3.
Okay,
Yeah,
All
I
right,
mean,
so
there
we move
are
on.
some other things I would like to talk about doing, but you know,
One
I
thing
mean,
at a time.
yeah,
Right now, this is a thorn and I want it pulled out of my side.
okay, let's move on. We want an update on Horton Street, new plans submitted by Green Seal Environmental. Lisa?
okay, well, Jack should be here, Jack O'Leary, to discuss those. Is he not here? I'll tell you what I know. So since we issued the enforcement order, you know, TLC Development hired Jack O'Leary of Green Seal, and Green Seal has submitted an ENF application for his water quality permit because they are putting 11,000 square feet of fill in BVW that's connected to the Segregated River and an ORW. So they're moving forward with getting the necessary permits. I did receive an email today and I can read it. But before that, we did receive a request from them for some changes. But I thought he'd be here to discuss those. I'm not ready for us to make the decision on anything until he comes to the meeting and presents the changes. The changes have to do with changing the culvert to meet the stream standards. But basically I can read to you the ENF filing email he sent today. It's to the secretary, Theo Hardes. I can't pronounce that word very well, that name. On behalf of our client, TLC Development LLC, we are submitting the enclosed revised environmental notification form for a proposed wetland crossing to serve a proposed residence at the reference location. The ENF has been revised to include information on the proposed residence. The property is currently undeveloped and includes a substantial area of upland that only can be reached from the site's frontage by crossing a wetland and a stream. The crossing of the wetland will result in the permanent alteration of more than 5,000 square feet of BVW, exceeding the Massachusetts Environmental Policy Act, MEPA, review for threshold for wetland alterations. Equivalent wetland replication is proposed in accordance with the ENF filing requirements we have enclosed, and they enclosed a copy of the revised plans and the whole ENF document Representatives of Green Seal will be available when the site meeting or virtual meeting is scheduled by your staff. Should you have any questions or need additional information, please do not hesitate to contact me. Thank you for your consideration in this matter. Jack O'Leary. So I was under the impression, after reading that, they're still working on that. So maybe that's why he's not in attendance. Quite frankly, I'm really surprised he's not here.
Lisa,
Yeah.
this is Joseph Baptista. Jack is
Okay.
having a problem with his mic right now, and he
Okay.
can't dial into the Zoom phone number. So he's attempting to somehow dial back in. I see him connected,
Yeah. I can see his name on the board.
but his mic, for whatever reason, is not working. He just texted me now.
Okay. So do you guys want to take another item out of turn? Can we do
Yeah,
that?
so let's move on, and then we'll just go back when he comes in.
You're gonna
Okay,
vote, you
update
gotta
on Reed
vote to
Brothers.
take something out of turn.
Well, it's really not out of turn. It's just that we will return to that item when he comes in. Okay, Reed Brothers update. Lisa?
Okay, the update was coming from Stephen Reed in this case, not me, but I mean, I can tell you what I know.
Well, okay, I saw one thing, there's a chain across the drive. That's the
Right.
only thing I've seen at a distance, other than what you and I saw when we went in.
Right, so some of those piles have been removed as well. I do know that. There isn't any more. I was out there last week.
I haven't touched anything, Lisa.
What's that?
This is Steve. I haven't
Oh.
authorized anybody to touch anything back there at all.
It looked like something was
Outside of
removed, but
I have
that's
no idea.
fine. Sure,
Yeah, no one should be going back there until I'm gonna do what you tell me. So until you tell me to go back there, I'm not touching anything. So if
okay,
somebody
I
did,
appreciate.
yeah, it wasn't me.
Okay, I appreciate it. I've been playing phone tag with and email tag with Jason Youngquist from Outback Engineering, and we finally touched base this morning. They're ready to start working on it. They have the existing conditions survey from, what year was that, Steve?
Probably 2 years ago.
Okay, so they have the existing condition survey, and they want to take a walk out there and just look at what it looks like now. So they asked me if I could do that sooner than later. I don't know if it's going to be next week or not. I'm going to try for next week, but I just realized that Monday's a holiday. So, but I appreciate the fact that they're trying to move on this quickly, because it is a substantial violation, and we do want to see you in compliance. So I don't know if anyone else wants to talk about it, but.
Okay, there was talk of that drive and farming at one time being in there, and certainly it's been in excess of 5 years that area has been farmed. So that's just, so when the environmentalist gives a report, it's got to go back at least that amount of time.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. Did you say it has not been farmed in 5 years?
Correct.
It has been farmed within 5 years. The guy that rents the farm stand for my dad, he planted it the year before I went in there, so 3 years ago it was planted.
Okay, well, even if that's the case, so the alterations that were made don't fall within an exemption anyway, so it's kind of a moot point, I mean, at this point, but.
Okay, a restoration plan is going to be submitted, correct, Steve?
Yeah, I assume, so obviously I'm not educated to any of this. So Outback's, I'm hoping, gonna work closely with Lisa, come up with a plan, and Lisa will direct me on.
And then we'll move forward.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay,
Sounds good.
okay. Is Jack O'Leary on here? Are we all set with with
So-
Reed.
I think we should just, Steve, if you could just, you or Jason, just touch base with us at the next meeting. If they don't have anything ready for us, just give us an update at the next meeting anyway. Have them give us an update instead of me having to do it, that's all.
So you'll reach out to me like you did for this one for another Zoom meeting?
Yep, I'll send the link over. I'll send it to you and Jason. I mean, if you'd rather have Jason attend at that point, I mean, they might have something to share with us, so.
Okay. That sounds good.
Okay,
Okay, is Jack O'Leary
He's right here.
available?
great.
Yes.
Nancy, I have a question.
Yes.
You still on there, Nancy?
Yeah.
Is the town have any idea when we're gonna go back to regular meetings?
I heard that, Dave and the cable company, their consultant came down, and I believe that, Old Town Hall has the problem has been repaired. And the selectmen are planning to meet there for their next regular meeting, which is in 2 weeks. But, my understanding is everything's okay.
To have regular meetings?
Yes.
Okay, all right, thank you. Okay, next is County Street, David DeRosa.
Jim, excuse me.
Yes,
You've still got to maintain distances, you've got to wear masks, and you've got to have whatever the limit is in the facility you're meeting in, whatever the body, the number of people that can be
Yeah.
present. Yeah.
okay. Okay. All right,
Mr.
we've got
Chairman,
David
Jack-
DeRosa now, the enforcement order on County Street. David, are you there?
I am.
Okay, Lisa, you want to go through with the enforcement order and then David can speak?
Just a second. All right, so on April 1st, we mailed out an enforcement order to Mr. DeRosa. He's in violation at 2006 County Street, map 17, lot 49. We found, Bill and I did a site inspection and found alterations were made within the BBW and the 25-foot no touch. Definitely all within the 100 because the wetlands, the BBW surrounds the site. So we found various stockpiling occurring, and asked that he contact us by April 11th. He contacted us really quickly and we appreciate that. So now I'm going to leave the rest to Mr. DeRosa about what his plan is to fix this.
So you'd asked me to contact a surveyor to survey the flags that had fallen down, which I did. So I contacted Lighthouse, which was formerly worked for John Delano. And I contacted him. I have I have him on retainer. He obviously is busy, just like everybody else is right now. But he did say within, I think it was 4 to 6 weeks that he'll be out there. But I do have all the information here. This is from Lighthouse. They've been contracted. He had done the original wetland delineation of the property, so he's very familiar with it. He has it all on file. I actually have a plan here. Obviously, I can't scan it because whatever, but this is the plan of the site. So I would assume that they're gonna get out there, flag it quickly, and just get everything wrapped up. I mean,
Okay, so what I had requested in our discussion, because since Mr. DeRosa contacted me, he and me and Jim Asgar had sat down and had to talk about all this. So I requested the BBW be staked because trying to flag something where, you know, you've got fill within it is nearly impossible. I don't want them flagging the outside of the fill. There's definitely fill within the BBW. So I want it staked, and I want the 25-foot staked throughout the property. And I also requested that no more work be done in there, no more fill. I've been told by some credible sources that you're still allowing those guys to use the site. So is that true? I mean, are they still renting it from you? Are they still using it for dumping? What are they doing?
There's nobody that's using the site
Storing?
at all. No one's storing any material that's over there. The only thing that I had told you that, it was right after I had that conversation with you on the phone, and then I actually went down there because you called and talked to my admin. That's when I met with you with Jim, that there was a small little pile that I had moved, but other than that, there's been nothing that's down there. I mean, as far as them having their parking equipment down there, like there's
So
trucks
they're
that are parking. But
Okay, they're still parking.
I'm sorry.
They're still parking down there, but they're not hauling
There's nobody,
everything.
no, those piles are my piles. Those have been there for years. So, I mean, there's nobody that's moving the piles at all. The machines that are down there are my machines, so nothing's getting moved. I mean, I have the key on me, so.
So what exactly are they, what kind of machinery are they using for their operations? The logging?
They're a paving company, so he doesn't do anything. He has nothing to do with anything else that's back there. He just parks his trucks there. I didn't know that wasn't allowed.
I'm not saying it's not, I'm just asking what exactly he uses it for.
But are the credible sources saying that we're working on the site and dumping on the site?
No, that you're just using it as equipment going in and out of there, and I just want to know what's happening, that's all.
Right, okay.
So did
Okay,
they give you a time frame of when they'd be able to get any of this done?
He said 4 to 6 weeks.
You said 4 to 6, okay. And does that include, I know in the enforcement order, we asked specifically, let's see. We asked for a letter report from a wetland consultant.
I'm sorry, what was it?
Let me find it here. I believe we asked for a letter report from a wetland consultant on this. Yes, so section C, the ordered delineation of vegetated wetlands on the property. Delineation should be made by wetland consultant approved by the Conservation Commission. A report of findings shall be submitted by a wetland consultant. A topo survey showing existing conditions, areas of disturbance, and wetland restoration plan. And no further work shall be performed until a public hearing has been held and orders of conditions have been issued to regulate the work. So we also asked that erosion controls should be put in. So once that wetland is staked out and I agree to the area, then we can put the erosion controls in. Right now, I don't want to do that until we know exactly what we're looking at. So do you understand that? That, I mean, it's not just a survey, it's hiring a wetland consultant to, and I don't know who flagged it previously, if you can get them to come out again, but
And reflag it? And that would-
reassess it to see, you know, what's changed, what's different from the previous investigations, because I'm sure they have old photos, and write us a report, just letting us know what the disturbance is, and so we can
what's the
figure
purpose
out
of
the rest
having
of it.
what's the purpose of having Delano come out there and stake all the flags because it was previously delineated?
Okay.
So if he
So
comes
can
out
you-
there,
Yeah, so whoever he used to delineate it, the botanist that did it, or the soil scientist, I believe it was Brandon Fanoff, correct?
Yep.
Okay, so if you could get Brandon Fanoff to come out and take a look at it and assess it according to what it looks like now, according to what it looked like then, that would be pretty helpful for us.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, we all set with what David has to do.
Jack has his hand up. I don't know if he means to, but is that Jack
No.
O'Leary?
It's Jack O'Leary, and I'm just letting you know
okay.
I'm ready to go whenever you get to it.
Okay. Are we all set with DeRosa? Okay, so we will be getting work from you or hearing from you in that time frame that you just spoke of.
Yep, 4 to 6 weeks.
Okay, very good.
Yeah, and in the meantime, you know, same thing like we just talked to Steve and Reed about, if you could just give us an update before our next meeting, which is May 20th, of where things are at. I hope that, you know, they've been able to do some work by then.
Sure.
Okay. Okay, let us go on to Horton Street with Jack O'Leary. Okay, thank you, David.
Yep.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thanks, everyone, for your patience. I appear to be having difficulties with the microphone and speakers on my laptop, so I'm in via my phone. We had made a couple of submittals to the commission. One was for an amended order of conditions, and the other was a letter you had requested with regard to Chapter 91 jurisdiction. I'd like to hit the amended order of conditions first. The project, the revised plans have been submitted to you, and there's a couple of one change in the plan that we wanted to bring to your attention and request an amended order of conditions. First of all, I should mention that the plans now show the riverfront areas. The plans you had previously under the original notice of intent did not, so that item has been addressed in the plans. As far as the change in the plans, the applicant, by the way, I'm here on behalf of TLC Development and Joe Baptista, who's the owner. The change in the plans is to substitute a different open bottom box culvert for the one shown on the original plan. The one shown on the original plan would have been manufactured new. As it turned out, there was an unused open bottom box culvert available of a generally similar size and configuration available for us to use. So we took that open bottom box culvert, adapted it to the existing design, and that is the revision on the plan we're asking you to approve. It's a little different configuration. Instead of being straight across the stream, this open box culvert is skewed, and we've adapted it to, as much as possible, work within the limits of the existing design. But there is an area of riverbank that was not altered on the original plan, but has to be altered to accommodate this new box culvert. It's 12 linear feet on the side closer to Horton Street, and that's well within the permissible bank alteration under the Wetlands Protection Act. The box culvert continues to meet the stream crossing standards, and because of the skew in it, the driveway had to be adjusted a little bit, but the driveway returns to the existing cart path very quickly with a curve on the side opposite of the road. And we've cleared that with the fire chief as far as fire access. So that is the request for amended order of conditions. We hope you'll consider that and amend the order.
So you clear, so can you repeat what you just said about the fire chief? Sorry. And the access.
Because we're adding a curve to the driveway, we wanted to make sure the fire chief was okay with that. The curve does accommodate the largest ladder truck and still brings the driveway back onto the existing cart path quickly so that we have only a minimum disturbance of undisturbed area within the crossing. The original design followed the cart path fairly closely everywhere, which resulted in a minimal disturbance to the wetland, since it already had a cart path on it.
And how wide is your how wide is this gonna be, this access way, driveway?
It's driveway is going to be 16 feet of paving and 2 feet of gravel on either side. And that provides the 20-foot minimum that's required by code.
Do you mind sharing it? Laura, can he share his screen and show the commission a revised, at least a detail of this?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, I'm
great.
sorry. And this is for Jack.
Jack,
It's Jack,
Yeah.
yes, yep.
Okay, let me make you a co-host. It should allow you to do so now.
Okay, let's see if it works. I'm getting a message that says host disabled participant screen sharing.
Is this under Jack or Jay O'Leary?
It's Jack. Oh, I'm sorry. Try Jay O'Leary. Maybe that'll work.
Okay, let me do that one. Right now?
There we go.
Okay,
Thank you.
you're welcome.
Okay, this is the existing condition sheet, and really the only change from the original order conditions is this shows the riverfront areas.
can you zoom into that, please?
Sure.
Great.
So you can see the stream in the middle going left to right, and then the 100-foot riparian zone is there in purple, and then further out either side is the outer riparian zone in a fainter purple here. So there they are. All right, and we just to get to the proposed. Okay, here's the proposed. And you can see the proposed driveway crossing the stream right here in the middle of the screen. And you can see there's a 30-degree skew to the crossing where it used to be straight across. And then there's this turn to the left where it gets right back onto the existing cart path. That's what I was referring to. And I've got a detail of it over here. See it a little better. You can see the bank flags. And the alteration to the bank is right down here in the lower right where on the street side of the crossing. Other than that, the culvert continues to completely bridge the stream and the stream banks. And I should say the stream banks aren't especially well defined in the stream because it's a wetland stream. It's there's not a distinct break and slope or anything there. It's just the area it floods to. You can see strand lines and things like that. That's where the bank had been
Tomorrow you will see how it floods.
How much is it still going to rain that much tomorrow?
Well, 1.5 inches, they're saying.
Wow. Okay. Well, we will. That will be interesting. I did see it right after the snow melt. And it was as highest I've seen, and I put some yellow flags out where the water went to. It was still well within, pretty close to that bank delineation. And I do have a detail of this open bottom box culvert in the drawings. Some of the details are right here in the lower right. And just so you get some sense of it. The bottom detail here shows the view of the open bottom box culvert from the view of the stream. And you can see how it bridges either side, the stream channels in the bottom. And the footings are being kept on the outside to minimize the disturbance too. So they're kind of cantilevered over. And this is the view from the driveway, which is essentially a section of the driveway. The culvert is down below it here. The river goes left to right here. And This drawing here is the drawing provided by the firm that had produced this repurposed culvert right there, and it shows how it's skewed that way, and provides some other details, probably not of great interest, of how it's built, reinforcement and things like that. We also added, just to be complete, in case this gets done when there's some flow in the stream, a siltation barrier detail for protecting downstream areas. And all this really is a silt fence with a wooden frame that would act to stop any sediment should it get into the stream while it's flowing. And that's shown graphically on the plan view as well. That was not on the original order.
Great.
All right.
Can I ask you, Jack, in your opinion, 11,000 plus square feet of BVW disturbance and the amount of plantings we're proposing in the replication, I don't think they're sufficient, the number that was proposed originally. I mean, it's just around 100 plants.
Well, there's 100 plants, but there's also some seeding as well that would completely cover the area.
I mean, you know, that's what, one shrub per 100 square feet. I mean, you know, it just, to me, it seems crazy. When I did replication and restoration work, in order to meet the Army Corps success standards, you know, you're always fighting against the invasive species. The goal is to meet success, 75% success within 2 years. So in order to do that, you really have to plant densely. And in this case, you guys know I wasn't around when this was originally approved, or I would have asked for a lot more planting. So just to make the commission aware of that.
But if we are going to amend the order of conditions, that can be amended as well.
Yeah, Jack, could you quantify that a little bit? I can barely see it, but I have a copy here. I don't know if the guys.
Yeah, I'm zooming in right here just to say review. You know, we went into this assuming since that was approved, that was adequate. There's 25 red maples, which are trees and will grow into substantial trees. That's a decent amount. 47 sweet pepper bush. I believe they propagate fairly quickly, so that would start to fill in the area pretty well, and also 51 high bush blueberry plants. I mean, you're asking for my opinion, and I've walked that you and I walked the replication area, and I've since been out there again looking at it to see, look at the stone walls and things like that, and it's this is a substantial amount of plantings for that area. It's going to fill it in.
How many
big are
square
these
feet? How many square feet are we talking though? I mean, can you just,
12,000 square feet. Yeah.
I mean, 12,000 square feet, I would be planting hundreds of plants, hundreds.
Pepper bushes are small.
It's a gallon container stock. So it's not that small, but
they do grow.
Yeah, they're going to, especially with the one aspect of the replication area that I took a good look at was the trees, and thinking that maybe some of the trees could be preserved. But frankly, after looking at a lot of them, some of them are wind throws, and a lot of them are growing on rocks that are going to make them susceptible to toppling, especially after the area is regraded. So I kind of rejected that, and with the trees being taken out, this area is going to get a lot more sunlight, and this stuff will grow more quickly because of that. And then the red maples will start filling in the tree cover, allowing more shade. And there is a pretty decent amount of New England wet mix proposed to bring in a herbaceous layer to get a good quick start. I mean, obviously, we've got to monitor this, and 2 years out, if we don't have the 75%, we're going to be looking at having to replant anyways.
Well, in my experience, we're going to be fighting the deer and the invasive species. So, I mean, it's just going to be an uphill battle if it's not a denser planting.
Mhm.
So I really would like the commission to consider requiring a denser planting. Save some aggravation in the long run. We are taking down mature trees as well. I mean, it may be in the upland, but
Yeah.
we need to consider that as well. We're taking down a mature canopy to plant a replication area. Be good to look at the whole picture like that. I don't care about the herbaceous as much as I do about the tree canopy, and I would like to see more trees in there. So more trees and shrubs.
The trees, the red maples being proposed are 2-inch calipers, so they're pretty substantial.
But what size are the trees that you're taking out of there? The oaks and the beech and the.
Well, I understand that, but they are they're fairly mature. A lot of them aren't in great shape, and they're likely to topple in windstorms. There's a lot. I've walked through this property very thoroughly, and there's lots of wind throws everywhere. So that they've kind of reached maturity and then some, and many were going to come down anyways. This will give it a chance to the red maples a chance to get a fresh start with some young saplings and really fill out in an open space.
Okay, Lisa, if we go on with the amending the order of conditions, we can certainly add in some more to that as well. But do we have what we need to all the information we need on the water quality and everything else to issue an amended order of conditions?
They have not gotten their water quality certificate yet, correct?
Okay. So
that's correct. They're all in progress, the other permits.
Okay, so maybe at this time it would be best to continue the hearing until the May meeting. And you can consider adding in more plants in the replication area.
Well, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to close the hearing tonight if that's possible. This is really just a meeting, not a hearing, correct? Just to amend an order. It's not a public hearing.
Well, but if we don't have everything we need, we really can't issue anything yet. Lisa, we need that water quality, or Lisa?
I mean, I would like to see them get a little further along. I mean, didn't you guys just get a notice saying that, there was insufficient information, you had to resubmit?
Well, yes, I can address, this is MIPA. There's 3 other permit processes. There's the MIPA because of the amount of wetland alteration. There's the DEP water quality cert for the same reason, and also the Army Corps permit. And that was the MIPA. We had submitted very early to MIPA. They waited to the last possible minute and then decided that they wanted us to show a proposed house in the plan, which we didn't have a design for or intent that we thought the application was we thought it was complete. We were a little surprised by getting that notice, but we've already addressed that and resubmitted. So we're right back on MIPA's schedule.
Yeah, I had asked you that too. I had asked you why, originally, of course, you weren't involved then and I wasn't involved then, but I was curious as to why there wasn't talk of, like, it didn't explicitly show a house over there, but.
Well, that's because it was being done separately and we need, the owner needs the permits for the driveway, which are, they take some effort to get before they want to invest in figuring out what size house they want and going through all that work. So it was appropriate to have the driveway permitted separately because it needed separate permits. The house could easily be built outside of the buffer zone and not need any additional any wetland permits if that were if we wanted to.
Lisa, can we move on to issuing an amended without the other paperwork completed? Or, I mean, we ran into trouble last time when we never received anything. And I don't want to run into the same problem.
Right.
Although it seems like we're heading in the right direction. I mean, it does seem that way.
Mr. Chairman, I have a suggestion to address what you're saying is on your amended order. You could specifically indicate that the NEPA process needs to conclude and that the water quality certificate and Army Corps permits have to be issued before any work starts. And that would accomplish, I think, what you're trying to do without having another hearing here.
Are you comfortable with that, Lisa?
To be frank, I wasn't really comfortable with this project to begin with. So I'm not really positive about that, Jim. I can't answer an honest yes. I would like to see, have they done any site visits? Army Corps, anyone?
No, it has not been submitted to the Army Corps yet.
Well, I think that, right, if you haven't submitted it, then you are negligent in moving things along.
Well, Mr. Chairman,
Charlie,
we were
what's your
at
take, Charlie. Charlie,
No
what's
one-
your
no-
take? Charlie,
But
what's your take on it?
I'm listening. I'd like to hear what he was just about to say.
yeah,
You said
Mr.
the
Chairman.
Army Corps hasn't been notified yet.
These are all separate permit processes, and the applicants with multiple permit processes always has. Trying to think of what best way to put it, but everyone wants everyone else to go first. And in this case, if we wanted to go before you with this amendment first, because it's possible you wouldn't accept it, and we wouldn't need to submit the correct plan to the Army Corps and to the DEP. Otherwise, we get in a big tail chasing exercise where if you decided that you didn't want to amend the order, then we'd have to go back to our original design and then have to pull back the applications to the Army Corps and the DEP, which takes time and costs money. So I think we're handling it the appropriate way. We're giving you first shot at this so we make sure this change is acceptable.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, Nancy.
from what I'm seeing and hearing, starting with the driveway off of Horton Street, going all the way into where a building's going to be built, and including the area where there's going to be wetlands replication, I assume this is going to disturb well more than 35,000 square feet.
No, not that. It wasn't that much, but what was the number, Lisa? 11,000?
No, Jim, she's talking about completely, not just
Oh, okay,
11,000
all right.
square feet of
Starting with the driveway off of Horton Street,
Okay.
the entire length, the entire area, the area that's going to be cleared so they can build a house or whatever's going in there, and also the area where they're going to replicate the wetlands. That's got to exceed more than 35,000 square feet.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. I'm
Is
sure
that
it
a
would
fair
be.
statement?
Well, it's 22,000 just for the wetlands.
Okay, well,
Without,
I'm hearing things like, we got to get this permit to do this, and we got to get this permit to do that. Anything excess of 35,000 square feet is got to come before the Stormwater Committee. We're going to be looking for a stormwater maintenance plan and everything else. So that's one more permit he's going to need.
Is
I'm
there,
just
okay,
mentioning this. I realize that's not a Concom problem, but I'm just stating publicly, this gentleman, his representative or somebody needs to get in touch with the Board of Health, Stormwater Committee, and get on an agenda for a future meeting so we can discuss the project.
And any stormwater requirements might actually change the plan. So at this point, I would just say continue it till May.
okay, Mr. O'Leary, you hear what's happening, Stormwater, Board of Health, to bring it before them with your entire plan and maybe showing where the house is going to be as well and your total amount of disturbance.
I did hear that. We will certainly look into that. But that doesn't necessarily mean you can't act on this request. If that changes anything, we'd have to come back.
You know, I hate giving approval to anything and saying, but you have approval to do it, but you have to wait until we get this, and this, because sometimes they just don't come through to us and work begins to go like it already has. And, with fill that was improper in the area, I would rather continue it as well. And you take your plan and maybe even send us a plan that you sent to the government where your proposed house is going to be, have that ready for the stormwater and the Board of Health. And then we can go to, and then we can see what happens within a month, May 20th.
Well, Mr. Chairman, I respectfully disagree, but you have to do what you got to do. So.
Okay, well, I'm going to reach out to all the members and see what their ideas are and if there's a motion.
And see if there's anyone else that wants to speak about the project.
Wouldn't it be helpful if the Stormwater Committee provided Jack with the regulations?
Charlie,
I would
you didn't come
appreciate
through
that.
very clear.
Pardon?
Charlie, you did not come through very clear.
I asked if the Stormwater Commission could provide Mr. Leary with a copy of the regulations.
Yes, all he has to do is get in touch with the Board of Health, Mrs. Grassi. She was going to put them online, but probably, I'm not sure if they're online yet, but Board of Health, Mrs. Grassi, she can give them the bylaw and the regs. I would
thank you.
suggest, I strongly suggest that he get in touch with Mrs. Grassi and get on an agenda for a stormwater meeting, because I can tell you with solar projects, we got one on Brook Street, they're chomping at the bit to get in there, and we will not allow it because there's too many things missing. I'm not trying to influence the Concom and how they do their business, but I'm just telling you, the stormwater regulations are not something to be ignored. Let me put it that way.
Oh, we're not ignoring them. And I don't want to speak out at school, but do they apply to residential single-family residences?
35,000 square feet of disturbance or more, whether you're building a house, whether you're clear cutting land, because you're going to replant trees. That's you need to see the bylaw and the regs.
What was the area, Nancy?
35,000 square feet.
35,000, okay.
And I can tell you, historically speaking, we have had I'll call them house lots, big ones, that have had to get a stormwater permit.
Okay, appreciate that.
Is there a motion to continue?
I'll make a motion that we continue to next month's meeting.
Okay, that is the May 20th. Is there a second?
I second.
Okay, I'll take a vote by name. Charlie,
Aye.
Bill,
Aye.
Jim,
Aye.
Jack. Jack? I think we lost him. His phone must have gone dead. Okay, but we do have quorum.
Yes, you could vote, Jim.
Yeah.
Okay, unanimous to continue the hearing until May 20th.
Mr. Chairman, this is Jack O'Leary again, if I may
Yes.
speak very briefly. I am looking at the stormwater regulations that I found online, and they indicate that disturbance of 5,000 square feet or more of land.
Yeah,
I thought I
that's the
remember
old,
seeing.
excuse me, Mr. O'Leary, that's the old one. We had
That's the old one?
we amended the bylaw. It is 35,000 square feet now. The original
Okay.
were 5, but obviously it encompassed too many lots and too many small things. So no, it's 35,000 square feet now. That's why I was asking up front how much disturbance we were talking about.
Okay, well, I see that, but you have to understand the public and people like me go by with what's on the website, and that's what I recall. And it's exempt if it's got a no valid order of conditions, or even if it's over 5,000 square feet under what's on the website. But apparently it's changed. We'll deal with that.
Okay, thank you, Mr. O'Leary. Okay, let
you.
us move on to discuss an email complaint of ashes being dumped into the drainage swale on Hot Street.
Okay, so I received an email. I believe the person that emailed me is in attendance. Let me find his email right here. Unless he wants to speak about this. Paul Duart is his name.
Yes, I'm here, Lisa.
Okay, let me look for the email, but
Can somebody remove this diagram, please?
yeah, I did ask Laura to do that. Let me see, I'm a co-host apparently.
Lisa, were you looking to share your screen?
No, my screen, no, not at the moment, but.
There you go.
Thank you.
Okay. Great, thanks. So, yeah, I received an email on 3/29 from Paul Duart, who's here, speaking about ashes that were dumped in the ditch, the drainage ditch, and being concerned because that's the same ditch that was regulated in front of his property. So I took a ride over there. I had asked the chairman, first of all, if he had seen them because he's the neighbor, and I figured he might have. He said he didn't see any ashes. When I came, there was a little sign of some ashes, but I didn't see like a pile of ashes like in the picture that he sent me. Paul, I didn't know if you wanted to talk anymore about it, but.
Well, on that particular day, it was a Sunday, March 21st of 2021. I noticed the ashes when I witnessed Kevin, who's the member, visiting Bill Frenette. When I approached Kevin to speak with him, I had to actually back up out of the way because there was a car coming because Kevin was in his vehicle. When I backed up, I happened to look down and I saw a couple of piles of ashes in the ditch directly across from Bill's house. Kevin actually even got out of his vehicle and came over and looked at those ashes. And correct me if I'm wrong, Kevin, you did see them, correct?
Let me just unmute myself. Yeah, so let me just clarify. I actually went out after our last meeting or on that time to do a site visit, my very first site visit, and that's when I met Bill outside. But as I was going to leave, we did have a discussion, and that's when Mr. Duarte said, "This appears to be ash." I got out of my vehicle. His father was also there, and he is correct. There was ash, and I actually picked up what appeared to be darker pieces of burnt material. So somebody definitely placed the ash there, and it was on the same size as Mr. Duarte's property in that swale area, just up the hill slightly.
Directly across the street from Bill Frenette's house.
Correct, that's where it was.
So
I didn't see, just for the record, I did see the ash. I agree that was ash. I did not witness anyone placing the contaminant in there. And then after we had our last discussion, I left without incident, so.
So back on March of 2020, Bill Frenette was witnessed dumping wood ash in the ditch along Hart Street, right in front of my property. I actually also mentioned this to Mr. Mello, Charlie Mello, at one of the visits that when he came to my property. It's again, nobody's seen Bill dump it across the street directly in front of his house, but the coincidence of actually somebody seeing him, and I actually have proof of that, kind of makes me wonder, nobody else on that road that I know of, including myself, burns wood in their home. Just the coincidence, I guess, speaks for itself. But then again, I mean, this is a conservation board member who should be setting an example. And I mean, again, he was witnessed physically dumping ashes across the street in front of my property in the ditch. And Lisa, the last time you visited my property, when you and I walked the street, I believe I pointed out another section, another area of ashes also, which I took a picture of that. I'm not sure if you recall that, but that was a third case of ashes that I found. I mean, what are the odds of somebody else from somewhere else going there, dumping ashes? I mean, the odds are very high. Low, sorry.
Okay, I would like to speak for a moment. I understand Mr. Duarte's position, but yet this is not a casino where we're looking at odds.
No, you're right. It's not odds, but when I have video proof.
And I know that you two are definitely at odds with one another. And I was not there to see anything. I was not there to make witness of anything, but I would not like to speak about odds. That's all I'm saying.
Okay, but I have proof. But I have proof. There's no odds with when I have proof and witnesses seeing him, Bill Frenette, dumping ashes. He has a metal pail that he puts his ashes in, and that's what he used to dump the ashes in front of my property. Again, I will say this again. I have proof. I have witnesses showing Bill doing this.
I'd like to see the proof if you don't mind.
I know you would love to see the proof, Bill, but don't worry, you will at some point.
Well, can we see it now?
No, you cannot see it now. This is now turned into a legal matter, so I cannot go any further with giving you proof.
Okay. That's great. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I think you should, on the record, state that at no time is it acceptable for anyone to dump any ash or any product in a swale anywhere, especially the one that leads to a wetland.
Including, not to
dumping of
butt
any
in.
material in a wetland area is not accepted by this commission, or should it be accepted by any commission in any community? You know, I hear accusations, they're not good accusations. I am not a judge here, and you know, I'm hearing what it's saying. I don't like what I hear, but then again, if there is proof, then he has to present it.
Yeah,
And I don't know what the outcome would be.
I just, you know, I want to say one thing. I agree, no one should be dumping anything anywhere. However, just like any other problem we have in town, if I go, it's not there anymore, it's cleaned up, great, I can move on. We've got a million other problems to deal with. Hopefully whoever did it won't do it again. That's all I have to say.
Well, I mean, shouldn't the concern be, or the issue be, who dumped it? We're not gonna know, but the fact that before you could go and visit, see it, it was cleaned up. Nobody else knew about it other than myself and Kevin, and I wasn't gonna clean it up because I didn't dump it. And I don't see Kevin going out of his way to clean it up. Maybe he would, because he's a board member, and maybe he would.
I know, I take offense to that because I did not.
And I don't mean it in a bad way. I don't mean
And
it
I
in a
did
bad
not,
way.
for the record, I did not mention it to anyone that what I saw. I actually mentioned it to Lisa because, again, it was my first site visit, and I'm like, that was terrible.
I remember that Sunday.
Yeah, and I was like, at least we had a good conversation, Mr. Dua.
Yes, we did.
But I was like, that didn't go the way it was supposed to go planned. So I called Lisa and I said, maybe I'll go with you next time, just with her. But I didn't clean it, or I only told Lisa, that's it.
Yeah, no, and I'm not saying you cleaned it. I guess in a good way, meaning like being on a board and that being an issue for you, I can see you probably going out of your way to clean it. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I'm just saying because of being a board member and caring about the environment. What I'm trying to get across is the odds of you cleaning it and me cleaning it are very slim, but the fact that it was just miraculously disappeared I believe it was 3 days later, it was a Wednesday when Lisa, you showed up to the property on site, that it was gone. And this was there on Sunday. So 3 days later.
Mr. Chairman, Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
I can clear it up easily. The rain got rid of it.
Well,
Okay.
it didn't rain 3 days later.
Although I have a rain gauge, I don't know the dates of the rain, but
I do, because I went over and looked. I went over and looked, and there was nothing there, nothing available. I guess the rain had cleaned it right up. Whatever was there when I went to look was gone.
You didn't see nothing, but Lisa just said that she saw remnants of it.
That's right.
Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
The fact that Mr. Duat mentioned litigation and there is no evidence, all I'm listening to are accusations and odds.
This is what I'm hearing too.
I would suggest that the Concom not take action on this until there is definitive evidence. Everyone has a right to due process. I'm sitting here listening that somebody saw something and some disappeared. Is there evidence? Yes, but I'm not going to show it tonight. You're going to get it eventually. If it's gone to litigation, if it's a civil matter, and I don't think the Concom should get involved. If in fact the accusations can be proven, then they should be presented to the Concom. Without evidence, this is just going to go around and around and around. Everyone's entitled to due process, so I would let it play out in the court.
So be it.
Thank you, Nancy.
And I was at that point, Nancy, where I was ready to say, I've heard enough. If it's not there, was there, not there, maybe odds. I don't want to hear anymore, at least at this point in time, unless there is such hard evidence. I would like to move on to discuss the as-built on Main Street.
Okay. I believe Bob Barabee may be here. Yeah, he's here on behalf of his client. Bob, do you want to give them a little summary, please?
Yep. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm not really here representing anybody, but I was asked to attend, and so I'm kind of representing everybody because I know quite a bit about the job. We were hired in 2016 by Tony Rodericks to potentially subdivide this property. First thing that was done was Chris Capone went out there and flagged the wetland line. After he flagged it, it was looked at by Nova Armstrong, also in 2016 or so. We located the flags on October 20th, 2016. There were some minor modifications done to the entire property. We went back out there in September of 2017. Based on that, we created 4 lots on Main Street to the Red Barn. It's now at the corner of Williams and Main. This particular property had a wetland line, as you can see on my as-built plan, that cut the back corner of the portion of the lot that is developed. There's a stone wall that runs along the east side of the property from Main Street back to the south, and there's an interior wall that runs across the back of the developed portion of this property. Everything behind the wall remains natural. There probably were some trees back there that looked like they might have been cut down, but there was no filling or anything else that took place or anything constructed back there. So we were asked to go out there. I think what happened on this job, when we worked for Tony, this was identified as Lot 3. We were hired to design a septic system, and we filed a notice of intent for all the work on the property. From that, we staked out the foundation and then conducted an as-built foundation plan. On that plan, we showed the wetland line that was approved by this board, conservation. Also the 25-foot no-touch zone, the 50-foot no structure line, and the 100-foot buffer line. We also went out there when they put the septic system in and also did an as-built on the septic system, which was submitted to the Board of Health, and the certificate of compliance was issued for that. After that, we were pretty much done with the job. We were never contacted to file a request for a certificate of compliance for the project. And sometimes that happens. They don't call us. Sometimes they do it themselves or they go with somebody else, but they never contacted us. Tony Rodericks had then sold the property to Richard Only, who's attending this meeting, and he bought the property, and he has now sold the property to another buyer. And I believe from talking to Richard, what happened was the attorney at the closing picked up on the fact that a certificate of compliance was never issued on the original order of conditions. So that's where we are now. There was some work based on that wetland line. There has been some work that was done within the 25-foot no-touch zone, which is shown on our plan. And that's where we stand now. So I think we need to talk about what needs to be done on this project so that everything can be cleaned up. I have some suggestions, but if the board wants to talk about it first, then we can go that way, whatever you want to do with it.
So I have some photographs. I obviously went out to the site. I'd like Bob Barabee to show us the as-built plan, and I'd like to share my screen in a few minutes after he does to show you guys some photos of what it looks like.
Do you have the plan also, Lisa, if you want to share everything?
I don't have it on my iPad to be able to.
All right, let me see if I can get it. I get that same note.
Yeah, I'm gonna give you permission. I don't think that will start until we do our next meeting, because I changed the settings, but I don't think it does it during the meeting.
Okay.
If you can try it now.
Okay.
Just to let the commission know that I did look at some aerials, and I did see that the work was not done. The work was done definitely within the past couple years. So when the owner who just sold it had it, they did the work that we're talking about, the disturbances that we're talking about, the fill, and the clearing.
Can you see that screen?
No.
Nothing? Still nothing? No?
The button should be to the left of chat
Yeah,
at the bottom of your screen.
Yeah, I hit the share screen button.
And then it may make you choose which screen you want to share. There might be a pop-up first.
Okay. Nothing yet?
Nope, we
Yes.
got it. We can see your screen now.
Okay, so I got a bunch of pictures on this one also, so I can zoom into the actual plan. And then I took some pictures also.
Great.
Can you see that? Can you see the plan?
Yes.
Can you click on the plan and show the guys?
It's on mine. I'm not sure why it's not on yours.
Oh.
Right now we're seeing the folder that you have all the pictures and plans in.
Okay, let me get rid of this one. Can you see the plan itself now? No?
No. I mean, we can see it as an icon in your windows, but
Yeah.
that's it.
When I click on it, it should come up, but let me try another one. Can you see that? No?
No.
No.
So all you can see is the plans, like with the two plans on it and the pictures, but that's it, right?
Yeah. If you can't zoom into the plans, can you pull up an aerial for me?
Is there any way to maybe send something to me to try to share the screen? I don't know if that would be helpful or not.
Oh, well, yeah, I could send it. Can you see the Google Earth picture?
No.
No.
I think that when there were options to click a screen, you may have clicked on this folder. So when you're trying to show a different screen, it may be only showing this folder.
All right, I'm going to try and stop this thing and then see if I can start it over.
Oh, good.
There it is. We got it now.
Okay, you get the plan?
Thank you.
Okay. All right, so this is Main Street up here on the top. The dwelling is located here. The septic system is located in the front left corner. The wetland line is diagonally towards the back of the developed portion of the property. This property goes back almost 400 feet. This is an interior wall that runs from the left and right property line. which was always in existence. And there's an existing wall that runs along the western side of the property that continues into the woods, into the wetlands. This is the flag line right here. I'm showing like flag A19 going up to A27. NA stands for Nova Armstrong. The original flags had no numbers, and we have some listed as new 22s, new 23s. Those were moved. And then Nova Armstrong came in and looked at the couple of flags in the back, the next piece, because that was more for the corner lot after this project was taken care of. So you can see there's a small section which amounted to about 160 square feet of wetland that was contained between the two walls in the back of the developed portion of the property. Because we weren't asked to do the request for a certificate of compliance, all I know is that when Tony Rodricks built the house, put the septic system in, he had the driveway in, he did have grass and loam that he brought onto the piece of property. But even though I drive by this place every day going to work, I never looked in this back corner to see if the wetlands were left untouched in the back or if he graded over them and grassed them. So I don't know when that took place. But as of right now, on my plan, you can see the asphalt driveway. From that asphalt driveway, there's a little landscaping area that's up on the side off the driveway. And then below that landscaping area is all crushed stone. And there's an existing shed that's been placed on the property. And these little rectangle things with the little plant symbols in them represent elevated gardens. They're probably about a foot high. And Lisa, if you got pictures, you probably have pictures of those. There's also like a chain link fence that was installed along a portion of that interior wall, going along the back of the property, coming around and going back to the house. And there was some crushed stone that was put in there also in the backyard. And that's how the property exists today, as far as permanent things that are out there. You want to show the pictures, Lisa, or you need?
Well, you already have your screen shared, so do you have some good photos that you can show us, please?
If I can find them, I'm going to try getting back to this thing.
Yeah, might be easier for you than me at this point. I don't know.
Okay, let me see if I can get out of this thing.
I did just pull up the area. I mean, in 2019 on that area, the wetland was not disturbed. There was a stone wall, there was vegetation in that corner, and there was another stone wall perpendicular. So I'm not really sure, what happened there, but it definitely happened within the past couple of years.
Can you see anything on the screen from me? No.
No. Got it.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, so this is a picture looking down the driveway, where that truck is packed in the back. That's where the wetlands are in the back corner of that property. And this is looking directly down the driveway, so you can see that fence that I mentioned over here in the right corner. You can see that shed that's placed there. On this photo, that's kind of looking, this is from the front steps going up to the front of the house, looking a little more diagonally into that back corner. You can see that same truck, you can see the shed, And over here, you can see a little bit of the raised gardens that are set back there. Same thing here. This is the back corner. So this is the actual wall that runs along the west side of the property from Main Street all the way back the 400 feet or so into the woods. As you can see the stone that's on the property, and this is the T-shaped elevated garden that's probably closest or in the area that was originally flagged as wetlands. And it might be it. This is the shed. So this is just to the left of that raised garden. This is the shed that was back there. And these are the two raised gardens that are away from the corner where the wetlands are. You can see them. They were on my plan that I had up there earlier. And this is the fence that runs back. This wall you see back here is that interior wall that runs parallel to Main Street. Same thing there. And that's it. This is the landscape area that I pointed out on the site plan. And I think that's it for the pictures.
Those are pretty similar to what I have.
Yeah, I took these not so much for this meeting, just so that I would let the crew know what to go out and locate when they did the as-built.
Okay. Lisa, what do we have here? Do we have a need for restoration or?
Yeah, so from what I understand, so the owners sold with a contingency. They knew this, the people that were buying it knew that there was an issue and there was never a certificate of compliance. And so they wanted to move forward buying it, purchasing it. So the previous owners did put money in escrow to be able to do what needs to be done.
Okay, and that's being rectified?
Well, we're here tonight to talk. Yeah, we're here tonight to talk about, I mean, if I had my way, the 25-foot would be left as a no touch, as in our regulations, as in how it was 2 years ago before they started messing around with it.
Okay, and Bob's plan didn't cover that?
Bob's plan shows the as-built. So right now we've got disturbance within the 25-foot. We've got a camper, we've got a shed within the 50 and the 20. Bob, is the camper and the shed within 25 feet as well?
Based on the picture, it would be, the shed is within the 25-foot no touch. The
How many feet up? Yeah.
It wasn't there when we did the as-built, plus those are more like temporary movable things, but it looks like in the pictures it was parked in the crushed stone area. So when you pull off the driveway, the truck was in that.
Okay, Bob, you're gonna have a restoration plan?
I didn't do one. We weren't asked to do one. We were just asked to do an existing condition plan.
I asked him to do existing conditions.
Yeah, just for discussion purposes.
So how many feet of fill do you know? I mean, you said how many square feet, but how many feet deep is that?
I don't know how deep it is. There was that tree that you could see in the picture. It doesn't look like the tree. The tree is still existing right at the corner of the wall. It doesn't look like a lot of material was brought in there, and because to where the stone is, you can still see like the bottom of the tree, like the hummocking of the tree. So it doesn't look like it was buried with fill.
Maybe the tree will survive.
Yeah, it looks like it would. And I think that the rest of it around the other sides of the walls are still like they were originally.
Okay, Lisa, our next step is to what now? Tell them they have to return the site to the as-built plan?
No, the as-built is what's out there right now, Jim. We want them to restore the 25-foot. And
No
it's up
touch.
to you. We have a 50-foot no build, so it's up to you guys if you're gonna allow them to put the shed within the 50-foot or not. I mean, that shed doesn't really require any footings or anything, correct, Bob? It's
It
just
looks
kind of
like it's just a temporary, yeah, we
Yeah.
consider it not a permanent structure.
Yeah. So I think, removal of the fill within the 25-foot and removal of, and restoration, planting. Bob and I can work on that together. And, you know, it's a tight site, so 25 to 50 foot. If they want to keep the shed in there, that's up to the commission, but I think that would be reasonable.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
hi, this is Richard Olin Jones. I'm the one of the former property owners of that property. And I can categorically assure you that there was no fill brought in by us. We have photographic evidence that we can share with you, with the committee, of how the house looked and the property and the grounds when we viewed the property originally in 2018, in November of 2018. All of that area that is in question, that 160 square feet, is as we purchased the property. So all we did was put some gravel down so that we could use that area, because it was pretty much just a grassy, you know, they had
It
put
was
in
a
some.
wetland.
I'm sorry, ma'am. I don't know the difference between a wetland. We were told that not to do anything on the other side of the rock wall, and we did not do that. You're accusing us of bringing in fill to cover up the wetlands. We can show you pictures that it was not that, it was that way when we bought it. So because the original order of condition dealt with the septic tank and so forth, and none of that was done, the order of the completion, or whatever it's called, the certificate of compliance, was never signed off by the commission, and Tony never had the order of conditions met, but yet we were still allowed to purchase the property because we had a certificate of occupancy, which requires, from what we understand, signatures from every committee: plumbing, planning, fire chief, the whole bit. We've done nothing to that property except put gravel down on the ground.
Your banker or agent did not notice your deed with a
No.
Correct.
That is correct. Otherwise, the sale would not have gone through.
That baffles me. Did you waive the title search?
Nope. Nope, but this isn't a title issue.
So we're told.
So we're told.
Well, it's on the title though. It's on the deed, the order of conditions.
No, the order of conditions, sir, was dealing directly with the 100 feet of the septic tank.
Nothing else.
Nothing else.
I
Yes,
have the
we
order
have
of
we have a
conditions.
copy of the order.
I have the order of conditions in front of me.
It wasn't, Lisa, until you came on January 19th to the property with our real estate agent and Bob that you said to them, oh, I think there might be a violation in the wetlands, but we're here to talk about the septic tank. So I'm not quite sure where all of this is getting covered over,
Well,
or included together.
I was contacted by the realtor to ask why there was never a certificate of compliance. Okay, and I answered the question.
We're trying to find out why there wasn't one. Commission
Yeah.
never signed
So-
off.
Right, the commission never signed off. So,
It was never requested.
right, it has to be requested by the.
Precisely.
commission.
Yeah, so Tony never requested it. That's what we're saying. The onus here is not on us. The onus is on Tony Roderick, who failed to get that order of condition met, signed off, and the certificate of compliance done. None of that was ever discussed, or even, we didn't even know about it until we sold the property and all of this popped up.
Well, when you buy a property, it's supposed to all be disclosed.
Okay, fine, it wasn't.
Okay, then it
And
is as though you have some legal recourse against the seller of the property to you.
that's Tony. We would like to know why the commission is not bringing Tony into this.
We,
as per the OOC.
You were the owner.
No, we were not. Tony was the owner. When the OOC was put into place, Tony was still the owner. We did not transfer ownership until January 15th, 2019. So Tony has owned that property since 2016. We then later found out, or, well, I'm not going to go down that road because it's could be liable.
It's our understanding, sorry, this is Trevor Olney-Jones, Richard's husband. Having looked through all of this paperwork with regards to the OOC on the original documentation, on the final page, it clearly states that if Antoine Roderick has not complied with the OOC within 14 days, he's liable for a fine by yourselves of up to $300 per day until he does so. And we're kind of not understanding, because obviously you can tell I'm English, I'm not familiar with a lot of American laws, where the onus is on who was supposed to apply, and if somebody knew it was outstanding, why they were not looking at getting that fulfilled. And here we are 2.5 years further on, purely looking for Bob Berube to have done the as-built plan to prove that the septic is meeting the order of conditions, and therefore can you please issue a certificate of compliancy, and that's it, case closed. That's what this is all about.
It was originally, and I watched the January meeting video where Charlie just said, fine, case closed. Because at that meeting, it was stated that the septic tank met the order of conditions. Bob Berube, I'm sorry, Bob, if I'm mispronouncing your last name.
It's okay.
Did write a letter to Lisa and the commission stating that the OOC is in compliance with the septic tank is in compliance. And so, and at that January meeting, it was like, fine, then what's the problem here? There is no problem.
The problem is, if you compare the two plans, you compare the original plan that was submitted to the commission under Tony Roderick, and you compare
which we don't have.
And you compare it to the as-built plan. If you compare, okay, let me see if I don't have a copy on my person at the moment because I'm currently at home, and I was not involved with the permitting of that because I just started with the commission in January. But I will tell you that there is work within 25 foot that was not regulated. There's work within the 50 foot that wasn't regulated.
Wait, Lisa, I'm going to interrupt here. This work that was done in the 25 and the 50 foot zone was done after the septic was done, after the house was sold. Am I correct on that?
I guess it's on the owners and the previous owner to determine and prove to us when it was done. I pull up a 2019 aerial and I see the site, I see the stone walls and I see vegetation that runs through the stone walls. Right now, it looks completely different. So I don't know who's responsible for that.
Okay, would you like us to share a picture with you of the day that we viewed the property before we even bought it?
That would be great. That would be fine with me.
Okay, give us a second to get that to try.
I can't get to
Can you email it to me?
No, I can't.
Okay, give us a second just to get that picture up, because it doesn't look much different than what you are seeing today, other than the addition of the plastic shed and the raised beds that we were using to grow food.
Okay, but you
Now,
said something about
this-
there being grasses there and that's what you disturbed, but so what we're dealing with is
Well,
a matter.
Grass as in lawn,
As in lawn,
as in lawn,
As
as
in-
in manicured lawn.
yeah. That was put in there. He hydroseeded the entire property. And all of that area was hydroseeded. And we have a picture, which
You
we're
have a
gonna try.
picture of the southwest corner, because if you don't, there's really no point of looking at.
We do.
We do,
Absolutely.
we do. Just please be
Great.
patient, okay? The other part is, you know, for 160 square feet of nearly a 2-acre plot, of which the wetlands were never disturbed, we have not created some environmental disaster. You know, we're absolutely befuddled over all of this.
I can't get it to you because I can't see the hotspot.
Okay, is there a way that we can try and email this to someone on the committee so that they can bring it up? Because we're having to use a mobile because of the snow out here. Because we're 4 hours away from you.
Sure, you can email it to me.
Okay,
lcaledonia@dighton-ma.gov. LCALED.
okay, hang on a second, Lisa. Trev. She's giving us her email address.
I know, I was trying to do stuff and I can't see.
I just wanted to talk to the commission a little bit. I mean, whether Tony did it or they did it, it's just like any other project that we've been dealing with. You buy something, it's a mess, you have to fix it. I mean, I'd love to hear what they have to say and I appreciate them coming to the meeting. I just would like to see some restoration of the wetland and the 25-foot. There's no reason why there shouldn't be any restoration on this, especially where there's money put up for it.
I'm sorry, Lisa, could you repeat that last statement?
I said there's no reason why there shouldn't be some restoration on this, especially where there's money put up for it at the moment.
Okay.
No, bear with me 1 second, Lisa. Having read the escrow agreement, just to refresh my mind, the money that's being held in escrow at the moment is purely and simply if there are minor deviations to the as-built plan of the septic system. And it's my understanding from looking at the Massachusetts wetland guidance to infringement that the problem goes with the owner of the property. So whoever owns the property now would be liable for the restoration. You couldn't go back to somebody that owned the property 15 years ago because we can't give you any permission to do the work on that property. We no longer own it. Other people now live there.
Okay, so where are the current owners?
I've no idea. I've never met them.
We don't know them.
Bob, are you working for the current owners?
Nope. No, Bob's working for us.
Bob was engaged by us as part of the escrow agreement to pay for an as-built plan that Tony Roderick failed to ask for. That's what Bob's involvement is, and he has now done the plan, and he's very kindly attended this meeting to explain to you, you know, the additional information and the history of the projects. It obviously even predates our ownership of the property. Our involvement purely is that the as-built plan clearly shows that the septic system is in accordance with the OOC, and that if it is, we need a COC issued that will go to the current owners and they will release the funds in escrow.
It isn't clear because if you read the conditions, no other work can be done on the site other than what was allowed. So if the commission allowed the disturbance within the 25 and the 50 foot, then yes, you're correct, but I don't believe, and Bob, could you share with us the original plan? I mean, did it show disturbance?
I don't know if I have that. The original plan, our plan, just to clarify things, when I first talked about this project with you, Lisa, I think your concern was whether the septic system was placed outside of the 100-foot buffer zone. And then I told you that yes, it was. and then I would get you the as-built plan to show that. I think where Trevor and Richard are discussing the septic system, the original notice of intent was for the construction of the entire project.
Right.
We didn't file a notice of intent just to construct a septic system on the piece of property. It was for the house, the driveway. I usually even indicate when I file them and there's wetlands work involved, I usually include a shed, I include a pool, that way.
I've got the notice of intent here, and the general project description says, construct single-family dwelling complete with driveway, landscaping, utilities, pool, and shed.
Yeah, and then it would have referenced a plan. I don't have that in front of me. Wasn't prepared to bring that up. But that plan would have shown the house location, the septic system design was on there. It was probably a septic system design plan that we used for it, because that shows existing grades and proposed grades. And the driveway, I remember the driveway being generally constructed where it was on our plan. So was the house. When we did the foundation as built, the foundation was located more than 50 feet away from the wetlands. So that would be in compliance. The septic system was located more than 100 feet away from the wetlands. So that was also in compliance. And as far as any other work that was done out there, looming, seeding, even the driveway, none of that has to go to a department other than the Conservation Commission for a sign off. That was never done, because although we were contacted to do the foundation as built and the septic as built, we were never contacted by Tony to do a final as built of the site and request a certificate of compliance. We generally put that in our proposal when we file a notice of intent, but it doesn't always happen where they call us and have us do it. Some of the boards, they submit the documents themselves and we never hear from them again, and they get their sign-offs from conservation. In this case, we didn't know if that was ever done or it wasn't. This was the last project we worked on this stretch. The final project was the bond, which we were not involved in with Tony Roderick.
Okay, Lisa, I'm going to back it up. Okay. Do they have a certificate of compliance for the septic? Yes or no?
From the Board of Health? From the
So-
Board of Health, they do. Not from us.
Okay, from the Board of Health. So now, so they're looking for that certificate from us for the septic system.
No.
But there's also a problem with other work being done. Am I correct?
Right.
Okay, so we want that other work, that the illegal work corrected, and we really don't know who did it.
Right.
So if they get a partial certificate of compliance for the septic system, but an order to the new people that are there, because they're there to restore the property to whatever orders we had initially given 2 years ago. In other words, to remove the shed, to do whatever, all that. That there's sort of agreement between both parties.
Yeah.
Who's speaking?
Charlie.
Oh, go ahead, Charlie.
Septic systems are outside the purview or review of the Conservation Commission.
Board of Health.
Okay. So that being outside, it's all set.
Yeah,
So,
the septic system's outside the 100 foot, so I don't know why this keeps getting brought up. We regulate within 100 feet.
okay, so that's mainly rebuilds. Okay, so the issue here is any fill brought in and the shed and knocking down the stone wall?
No, the
No,
stone
Mark.
wall was in existence. It was pre-existing.
As was the level of ground that we put the gravel, that we put the crushed stone on. All of that was level.
Can I
And
make a suggestion?
Who put the crushed stone on it?
We did.
Is there any language regarding when a property switches hands, who's responsible after that?
Yeah, the new owner.
So I think.
But
that's
if they knew there was something wrong and they required escrow money to fix it.
No. Please remember the escrow money is held back in case there was any deviations found with the septic system not conforming once the as-built plan had been submitted. It's got nothing to do with wetlands. It's all to do with the septic system.
Okay, but the plan that the commission reviewed and submitted orders on was called septic system design plan. I have a copy of the orders of conditions and that's what it's called.
But if the septic was out of our purview, because it's beyond 100 feet, then
we have to keep septics out of 100 foot. That's the regulation.
So does the as-built plan show that?
The as-built plan shows that, correct.
So therefore, we are now in compliance with the order of conditions for that septic system.
No, you're not.
Why?
The order of conditions covered the whole property. Just because it's titled a septic system plan doesn't mean that we're working on the septic. It's out of the Conservation Commission's purview. That's a Board of Health issue. The rest of the property is what we issued the order of conditions on. And that's what we're arguing about right now.
Yeah,
and actually it's taken a lot longer to settle this. I would make a suggestion that you send in whatever you propose to send in to Lisa, and we take this up at another meeting, because this is taking way too much time.
Thank you.
Fine.
In agreement.
In agreement. We'll send you, as soon as we can get our internet back up, Lisa, because we're under about 8 inches of snow out here.
Don't rush too much. I mean, town hall's closed on Friday and apparently Monday's a holiday, so.
Okay.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, we'll get it to you as soon as we can.
Okay, good luck with
Okay,
this.
thank you.
Thank you.
So do we attend next month's meeting? So that we can discuss the survey?
Yes, sure.
Yes.
Excellent. Thank you.
Hopefully,
thank you.
Hopefully you and I can get somewhere in the meantime with looking at
Okay,
everything.
you've got our
together.
contact information, don't you? Through Megan Hatch?
You can email it to me. That'd be great.
Okay.
Thank you.
Lisa, would you like to set up a separate conference call with the three of us and Bob?
We could do that through an email. Let's talk about that next week, okay?
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Get the updated information on Pleasant Street, 2396 Pleasant Street. Sorry, folks, whether I let that go too long, but I was terribly confused between septic and other work that done, not done. But okay, Pleasant Street. Lisa?
2396 Pleasant, David Beardos, are you here?
Yes,
Okay, great. Sorry to keep you on so late.
it's okay. It's interesting.
Okay, so we're just looking for an update on where you're at with complying here.
Yeah, I'm just getting another estimate because you told me I needed to survey next door, and I didn't like, I'm just working on getting the price. Everybody's 4 to 6 weeks out. I will have the survey on both properties complete.
Okay, sounds terrific.
Thank you.
And
moving on.
Was that easy?
For the record, the reason why we want him to survey the eastern lot is because that's where the resources are. He's within 200 feet of the river.
Yes.
Okay,
Okay.
Okay.
thank you.
Okay, David, we're all set then.
Good night. Thank you.
Okay.
Good night.
1566 Cedar Street.
Matthew. How you doing, Matt?
Oh, yes. I recognize that beard.
Yeah.
All right, so this site, the violation stemmed from me driving by, noticing some changes in the landscape on that lot. So I pulled up some aerials and realized that there was some major alterations. So we contacted Matthew in a letter and let him know that he was in violation, and he did contact us pretty quickly. So do you want to take it from there and let us know?
I've reached out to a botanist. He got back to me today. He's going to start reviewing and let me know when he's available to come out and look at it.
Okay.
Okay,
So-
you know, Matt, I was very pleased when I was out there with Lisa, going through your property, not with your property, but with you being anxious to settle and get things rectified. And I'm very pleased with that.
Yep, thank you.
Yeah, and we did talk about the fact that he had mentioned that he wants to put an addition on his house as well. So he was going to need to get a botanist out there anyhow. So, you know, I really want the botanist to focus on a report of the area of disturbance too, not just, the addition, but the disturbance and the restoration game plan. And I can work with them to make sure that it's done right.
Okay. All right. We'll be hearing more from you then, Matt, and when you get your report from the botanist.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
All right. Okay, next on
Who
the
is the
list.
botanist? Sorry, Matt, who is it?
I've reached out to Stephen Camille.
Okay. Could you have them reach out to me when they?
Yeah,
Have
he
a-
just got my information today. I mean, we just met
Okay.
on Tuesday, so I
All
got
right.
him contacting me back, and he's obviously a couple weeks out anyways.
And then who do you have? Do you have a surveyor you're working with?
Not yet. I reached out to a couple of people. Well, I'm supposed to be reaching out to some people. So,
Okay.
yeah. But I figured he
Yeah.
would be the first step anyways.
Yeah, he will.
Yep.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank
All right.
you.
Yep.
Okay, Lisa, you have a letter you received from Tony Rodriguez regarding
Yeah.
710 Hart Street.
Is he here?
Tony? Guess not.
Guess he's not here. Let me see if I even can find that at this point. I got so much junk out here. All right. Got it. All right. So email got bounced back to him, but he printed it and brought it in. He said, please be advised that the property at 710 Hart Street owned by Tony Rogers at 2835 County Street, Dayton, is cleaning up the old farm items and broken equipment in the fields and the buffer 25-foot buffer zone, wooded upland area, and all the areas have been flagged. And there is an old trailer filled with old crates, cardboard and farm items. In order to remove this trailer, a couple of small 3 to 4 inch trees will need to be removed. In order to move this, may take several months, but mostly handwork. He said he'll have the agent of the commission inspect. Upon completion, all items will be disposed of in containers and taken to appropriate site disposal. Thank you for your consideration. It will be greatly appreciated, Tony Roderick.
Lisa, what property was that?
710 Hart Street.
Whose property was that?
Perry.
Perry. Okay, that's what I thought. Okay.
Yeah, so I went out there because there seemed to be a lot of trucks going by Bill's house, and he had questioned it, and I asked him how many feet he was away from the wetland, and I went out and measured it. He's somewhere around 200 feet away from the wetland. So I asked him to put erosion controls just because he was bringing in so much fill and there was a slope, and he did that. But when I was out there checking the erosion controls, he happened to be there. And he said that he would like to remove this stuff. And I said, well, how do you plan to do it? And he was telling me, and I said, well, you really need to bring this by the commission. You can't just do it. So that's kind of where things are at. I thought he was going to come to the meeting, but it must be too late for him.
What is he removing?
There's a trailer and some debris. I mean, you could take a walk out there and see there's a bunch of junk out there.
Is it hazardous waste?
I don't believe so.
No, it's just old trash stuff.
Yeah.
And did he say it was gonna take him 2 months to get rid of that by handwork?
He said it could take several months.
I think when he mentioned that it was gonna take him that long, he's talking about the trees and the bushes. The material that he wants to remove is a rusted out old camper trailer and things like that. Something you can just go in there and pick up and get rid of, in a heartbeat.
Okay. All right. So there's nothing that we really have to do now. It's just a matter of him. We know what he's doing.
Well, so I asked for additional, I said, you need to contact the commission, but if you're going to do it, erosion controls need to go right here. And I showed him where. So I'm going to follow up with him and let him know that I want to see the erosion controls in before he does any of this work. And I just want to be able to do, some weekly inspections out there to check it out.
I would, because sometimes you can hear something else and where you want the stuff. I would just keep a pulse on that.
Yeah, I go to High Street anyway. Yeah.
Okay. We all set with that one?
Yeah.
Okay, wetland damage report submitted from owner at 563 Hart Street.
Right. So we received a note from William Frenette. I think now's the time if he's going to speak about this. He's going to recuse himself at this point, right, Bill? You're going to recuse
That's
yourself?
only on voting, but if he's got a report, he's got to make a report.
But it's
What
not
I'm
a
saying.
report as the chairman. He's not acting as a chairman at this
No,
point.
he's not. I've been
Yeah.
acting chairman all night.
Okay.
Bill, excuse me.
Oh, sorry.
Bill, what you need to do is announce publicly you're stepping down as a member of the committee so that you can address the situation as the person who filed this report, and that you will not be voting on any action that may be taken on this agenda item.
Yes, I will. That's exactly what I will do. What Nancy suggested, that's exactly what I'm going to do.
Okay, did you get that, Charlie?
Yes, I did.
Thank you.
All right, Sylvia has a statement she would like to read, or a statement she would like to make. And since I'm her partner, I like to throw in a couple of things myself every once in a while.
Okay. My name's Sylvia Bernardo, and I reside here at 563 Hart Street. The last time I was in front of the commission was in 2019. Back then, we discussed the runoff from 578 Hart Street. The order of conditions, which everybody knows, all the silt should stay on the owner's property. Well, in 2021, we still have the same problem. It hasn't stopped, and it's worse than ever. As Mr. Duwatt continues building his house, he continues piling dirt, moving dirt, a whole mess of problems over there, and everything that he has done hasn't worked. He was issued a order of conditions at one time, and nothing has been followed, nothing. I don't know what the commission's going to do about this, but those order of conditions have now expired. And his extension, which I believe is a year, that also has expired. I don't know what the commission's going to do about that. Then they issued him an enforcement order. Well, I saw this firsthand. He had a tantrum. He ripped it up and threw it on the ground. So I don't know if he has any idea about the enforcement order. I don't know if the commission mailed him a registered letter so he could take a look at that. But the silt keeps coming off his property and draining down into our wetlands every single time we have a storm. It just doesn't stop. I'm hoping he just also on Hot Street, we have a vernal pool right now. I believe that's destroyed. He destroyed it. There's no noise. There's no sounds coming from that vernal pool at all.
And it was a certified vernal pool.
We hired Ecosystems to take measurements of the silt that was put into our pond over the last year. So far, over the last year, he's put in 600 cubic feet. 1,600 cubic feet into our wetlands.
In 1 year period.
In a 1 year period.
Everybody on the commission has a copy of the Ecosystems test that they performed. And it should be used as a barometer for how this has to be corrected. And it has to be corrected. We make everybody who violates the Wetland Act and dumps any kind of material in it, we immediately hand them an enforcement order and make them remove it. The same has to be done here. He's not silting up his own property. He's silting up the neighbor's property, and he destroyed a vernal pool. The vernal pool, the destruction of the vernal pool has to be taken into consideration immediately. You've got to know how to handle that kind of a situation because you got a lot of them coming up.
Lisa, can you hear me? May I speak?
Well, wait a minute. Let the commission speak. Oh, sorry.
Okay, sorry.
Sorry.
Is there anything else you wanted to mention?
The thing is, he is working without any order of conditions. None. I don't know how he is being controlled by conservation because apparently he's not. For the first 5 years or however 4 years he's been building that house, he's been doing exactly what he wanted. You know, he put up a silt fence here, a silt fence there. Still, it wasn't working. He really has had no professional engineer go there and design a system of some sorts to stop this. He's literally just letting everything roll off his property. He has piles and piles of dirt there right now. And what do you think's happening right now? Everything's coming off.
The last rainstorm we had was April 1st. We got a lot of, Lisa took some photographs of my pond and my wetlands that were, silted up considerably. And also of the vernal pool that was silted up considerably. For the last 5 years, it has been going kind of like this. Mr. Duart, silt is running off your property. It's running off over here. Would you put some hay bales there? And he would put them there, and it would run off somewhere else. And this kept going on and on and on. He makes suggestions, and the Conservation Commission would say, "Okay, try that," and it didn't work. The only time he was notified that he ought to get some professional help was in the order of conditions that the notice, not the notice of intent, but the enforcement
order
that the Conservation Commission tried to get him, hand him, and it was hey, anyway, it was in the enforcement order that he tore up was the only time that he was requested to get some professional help to stop that. Everybody's, I wish Nancy had a copy of that. I didn't know Nancy was going to be here, or I would have sent her a copy. A copy from Ecosystems that measured the amount of silt that he had dumped in here in a 1-year period, was 1,600 cubic feet. So you can use that as a barometer to kind of guess at how much he put in the 4 years before that, and for the half a year since then. Every single rainstorm, the vernal pool gets full of silt, and my wetlands get full of silt. My turtles come out of, in the spring, my turtles come out of my pond, and they're covered with the same color silt, and it takes about a week for them to wash off.
It's a frustrating situation that we have across the street. It's hard. Conservation is not his engineer. He needs somebody to tell him exactly what to do. Why are we taking the brunt of the problem and the dirt that's coming over there? Why are we taking the brunt of that? It's not our fault. We didn't do that. We didn't pile the dirt. We don't have, it's just on and on and on. And then he is, it's like he blames us for, speaking our mind and wanting our property protected. He would do the same thing if he lived on this side and we were across the street. What would he do? Same thing. Anyway, it's frustrating and I'm upset and I want it to be rectified.
We want our wetlands restored, just like all the other wetlands are being restored throughout the whole town of Dayton right now. There's four wetlands that have been violated, and they all have enforcement orders, and they're all being cleaned up, but not the guy across the street from my house. I'd like to know a little bit why.
Bill, I'm going to open it up now to the commission members who have been there and thoughts on their thoughts on what's going on. I know, Charlie, you've been there multiple times. Can I start with you?
Yes, you can. It's been a long time, the construction of the house. It wasn't built by a professional, well, the house is well built, but he didn't hire somebody to build the house. He's been doing it himself as he can and as he can afford, I would imagine. We've had problems there. We've tried to correct them. He's complied with our requests for the most part, and it still keeps happening. I don't know what else to say. He corrected the east side of his property. He put in a driveway, he put swales in the driveway. He put silt fences across the backyard. And that problem was solved. At the moment, it's the west side of his property is a problem. The soil is running through his property into the neighboring property and out into the street. But I want to make another point too. That 1,600 cubic feet of silt isn't all this gentleman's. The town of Dayton.
Oh yeah, it is.
It is, Charlie.
It is his.
Well, you're telling me the town of Dayton that dirt never runs down the street except from his property?
That's not it. That is not it.
Charlie's.
I just asked the question. I've been there when I've seen dirt running from beyond his property, down the street and into the ditch and into the pond. It may be not all of it, but it's been a contributing factor.
No, Charlie, that's his silt running into his neighbor's property and running down along the neighbor's driveway into the ditch.
I'm not arguing that point. I've been there in the past. This is 5 years in the making now. And I've seen dirt running down the street, silt coming from town of Dayton or up beyond his property. So the 1,600 cubic feet all of it isn't his.
Every single bit of it is his, Charlie. You're talking, right now, you're talking like a defense lawyer. You ought to be talking like
I'm
a
not. I'm
conservation
just
commissioner.
saying what I've seen. I've
No,
seen the
see-
dirt. I've seen it run down the road.
Okay, we,
Okay.
those measurements were taking, were taken a year apart. The ecosystems came on such and such a date, made holes, took measurements, came back a year later, went to the same holes, took the measurements again. That's how we came up with that. It wasn't years and years of silt building into the pond. Well, it's 5 years of his silt that built into the pond, but we haven't even measured that. That was just that 1 year.
And you have all that information in front of you.
And defending the silt coming down the road, all of Dayton does not get silt like we do on this street from that.
I understand that.
No,
Can
it's
I say
frustrating as hell.
Can I say something? I'm not happy with any of it, and I hate the fact that I walked into it, but I'm trying to deal with it the best I can at this point. But I will say, that road probably couldn't handle all the new development. And with
That road, Lisa,
Couldn't
I'm
handle-
having trouble hearing you.
Couldn't handle
The-
this development.
the road itself probably couldn't handle the new houses on the road. And I noticed it's falling apart. The swale's not in anyone's defense, I'm just stating a fact. The swale isn't what the swale should be at this point. It should be maybe rip-wrapped. The town definitely needs to look at that road. So when I think what he's talking about is dirt running off from managing that maintaining that swale in the road. Is that what you're talking about, Charlie?
I'm talking about swale that was coming from other people's property beyond Bill's house, as well as the stuff that picked up in the swale.
The other development as well, along Hart Street, right?
Well,
There's no other
before
development.
this problem, the problem just west of Mr. with Paul's house was dumping the same amount of silt into his pond. Finally, that got corrected. The house previous to that did the same thing. If runoff
Yes,
came in,
and the Conservation Commission didn't help me at all. And he got away with pouring a lot of silt into my property also.
It's
So the thing
every
is,
house that has been built on that hill has had tremendous silt problems.
No.
that's not true.
That's not true, Jim.
Well, let's put it this way, the last three anyway, the one
No,
up
the last
above,
two.
And, as I view the problem, Mr. Duarte has done a lot of things that we have asked him to do, but he keeps on changing and redigging rather than doing it once and getting the job done, covering it with loam and seeding it. Once that is seeded, but he doesn't do it. He is creating a problem by dragging the process out. He started his septic system back in, I'm going to guess January. I don't know exactly when, but we know it's not grassed over yet. And he's built mounds in the back. He's done the same thing. It seems like he wants to be cooperative, but he doesn't know how. And he doesn't want to listen to people to say, do it once, have a plan, get it done in 2 weeks.
So
grass it over with quick seed and your problem is going to be solved. But yes, there is a big problem. And right now, it appears as though he is the major generator of that problem. Could there be other people giving minor problems? Yeah, I think so. But he is the major contributor now. In the past, it was other people to his west. Okay, Lisa, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, I just,
We're not
I
done
wanted
yet.
to say that, okay, go ahead, Bill.
If you look up Google Map on your phone and spread it out a little bit, you'll only see one place where there's bare dirt. And that's the Duart property. Everything else is greened up.
Now it is, yes.
Protected. I happened to be looking up an address the other day, and I clicked on that Google map. Google takes a picture of that property most every day. I don't know how recent it is, but if you click on Google Map and type his address in, you will see his lot. And I don't know how much further he's done in the back, but it sure as heck looks like more than 3,500 square feet. And
35,000?
looks to me like he's brought the whole area from the back of the house and put it in the front of the house. But anyway, on your phone, click on his address in Google Map, and you can see. Charlie, I would love it if you did that, and then you'd see that he was the only one with any bare ground out there that could even consider being silted.
Bill, I'm not arguing that he's not contributing 99% of the silt that's in your pond. I just wanted to make the point that the town of Dayton has some problems there too. That's all.
Well,
there's no question that the majority of silt is his. Before him, it was Mr. Camaro. So, I mean, that's the way it is. We've tried and tried and tried to get it fixed, and it hasn't worked.
so what do you do now? We just let
So-
it
so-
keep happening?
Well, I just want to say something, and I think Mr. Duart should speak, but at the March meeting, March 18th, the commission discussed what we should do and decided to request an RDA. So I reached out to Mr. Duart and said, hey, at this point, you need to get moving on everything, and you need an RDA with a plan. You need someone to draft a plan. And I figured at that point, we could work with him to make sure that the landscaping is in such a way that it's going to stabilize the site. And I really think that it may have helped push this along a little bit. And from what I understand, he contacted Proline. Hopefully Proline can get on it quick. I don't know. And we can condition the RDA. But right now, like you said, like Sylvia said, he's not working under a permit. It's expired. It was never recorded. We only have so much, authority. Unfortunately, that's where we're at with this. But he contacted me today and said he brought loam in and he seeded his whole backyard. And I went to look at it and realized he had done that. So, I mean,
now we wait.
I think we're moving forward with this. I can't guarantee, I don't know that there's not going to be any more silt running off.
If I could add something, I had a conversation with Mr. Duart, and he also stated the same thing. He was ready to be done with this and actually solve what was going on there. So between his conversation with me and it looks like he's already working with Lisa, I think we might make a turn here.
Well, that's 5 years later. He decides he's gonna.
Well, we can't go back now. I think we're at this point, we're at this point right now, and we can dwell on this. We could sit here all night until midnight and discuss everything that was going on. But I really think we have to listen to Mr. Duart and find out how we're gonna rectify this. You yourself, you said you were looking for some kind of remedy to fix this. And if he's willing to fix this, let's come up with a game plan and solve this.
Okay, is Mr. Duart there?
Wait, can I finish, please?
I thought you were.
No, I was not finished. I told you I wasn't finished.
Go ahead, and then
Okay,
let me know when you're finished. DEP requires when your order of conditions expires and the 1 year period where you could request another one, they require you to refile. So that's what
So
he is,
what?
he has been asked to refile determination. And we
No,
can
no,
work
no,
with-
they require you to refile an order of conditions. Notice of intent, so you can get another order of conditions. That's what DEP requires.
Okay, so right now, Bill, right now,
Take your hand away from your mouth. I'm trying to read your lips.
okay. Well, I think better with my fingers in my mouth, Bill. Okay, right now, if we're getting into prime growing season for grasses and which is what he needs. If we start dealing with something that's going to take 2-3 months to deal with, we're going to be in the summer months and we're going to be back to where we were again with.
That's what I'm afraid
open
of,
ground.
yeah.
Yeah,
That's correct. My opinion too.
and the board already voted to do an RDA, so.
I want to bring in Mr. Duarte and see if he's going to do that RDA, if he's willing to do it, if he's going to, and how long is it going to take him to loam and seed the front yard?
And how about the inch of rain we're going to get tonight? The grass isn't up. Should we have to wait for the grass to grow good enough so it'll stop the silt?
Will the notice of intent make it come any faster?
I can't do it.
No, Charlie, it won't make it come any faster, but I don't know why all this wasn't taken care of years ago. So now we're here and we're at a stalemate because Bill and I are pissed off because the commission didn't.
You dropped the ball.
You dropped it. You didn't go back. You didn't go follow through. No one went there. Dirt's coming down the road. We send you pictures. It is on and on and on. So now we're at this stalemate here.
Yeah.
So we're the losers and he's the winner. That's what it's come down to.
You issued him a cease.
So now I have to pay more money, for another, a lawyer.
May I get a chance to speak? Is my time ever going to come up? Because, I need some time to talk.
Well,
yes, you may come on at this moment. Mr. Duarte is now speaking.
Thank you very much. First, I'd like to say thank you to Lisa for letting us know about this meeting. We have never been notified that we were going to be on the agenda in any of the past meetings, which didn't allow us the opportunity to be heard. That's the first thing. In 2016, Bill Frenette filed a lawsuit against our neighbors, the Camaras, for the same allegations he is now making against us. Judgment was entered against Frenette in favor of the Camaras. So it's the same show and dance. It's the same thing. What he did to the Camaras, the same thing he's trying to do for us.
Okay,
now, as far as
can we get to solving the problem rather than going to pass?
Absolutely. I would, as Kevin said, I would love to solve the problem right away. Charlie has been there multiple times.
Yep.
And Jim, you actually been there a couple times. Jack was also there. Jim Souza was also there a long time ago when everybody was there. And they saw the property, and I have been doing what the Conservation Committee has asked me to do. I have silt fences. I have siltation barriers. I have catch ponds in the back. I've been doing everything. We hired a consultant when we got our first orders of condition. We had to hire him. We hired him. We followed all the steps that he asked us to do, did everything, got another letter that we submitted to the commission. We followed all that. We did all that. Now we're at the same thing now. Bill has actually been seen on my property. Let's see, back, I have the date here. He has been seen multiple times on my property. He's even gone to the lengths of climbing onto his barn roof to take pictures of my property. If he's a board member, he should be recusing himself, which he says he does, but he has been on my property alone without my permission. And I have that as evidence also and pictures to show, and I can actually email them to Lisa to prove my case with that. As far as I haven't been doing anything, that's not true. Seeded the back, completely seeded the back. The front is seeded also where I know I'm not going to be disturbing the dirt. The only thing that's left to be seeded is around my septic system that is being filled in now. I have silt fences. I have hay bales. I actually have 2 layers of silt fences. It's been nonstop of things that I've done there to appease Bill, because it seems like him being a board member, he calls up and complains all the time. And unfortunately, Charlie has to go out there and do his job. And when Charlie has gone out there, and correct me if I'm wrong, Charlie, you've actually said things look good. Lisa, on April 1st, when you were visiting there, it was raining, as Bill claimed, was it not?
It was raining, yeah.
Okay. Did you happen to see any silt running off of my property
Well, I think
that you recall?
I saw silt that had come from your property, but it was literally like stagnant in the shrubs at that point.
Okay.
So-
And then, okay. And then, well, the other thing I'd like to bring up is the, what's that? Vernal pool. They claim that there's no wildlife there. Lisa, do you recall seeing ducks when we were there?
We saw a duck, but I'm not there at night to know
Well,
if
But that's wildlife, is it? Am I correct in saying that?
Not the same, not the kind. you
yeah,
need for
it's not the amphibians that
Oh.
we're looking for, you know.
Well, I mean, to me, it's wildlife, whether it's a duck or a fish, it's a wildlife. So, I mean,
It was a good sign, but we,
Thank
you know, we just don't really know what kind of effect that if it's degraded it. And Sylvia has a really good point with that. I'm not even sure who owns that land and if
Mhm.
they're aware of this.
and just so that you know that we are looking to move forward with this and get this thing resolved. We actually have CEC Engineering coming out yet again on Tuesday. So it's not like we're taking a step back and like they claim, just letting it be and doing whatever we want. That's not the case. We have rules to follow, and we have been following rules. And you know, when there was an issue, Charlie came out and gave me an enforcement order and and the board shut us down. And we had to go back to what the board asked us to do. We did that. They let us, after we get everything resolved, we continued. They allowed us to continue. So it's not like we're not just flying by the seat of our pants and flying, you know, and not complying. We absolutely are. But again, this is just what Bill is trying to do to me and my family is the same thing that they did back in 2016 to the other residents. It's the same thing. It's rinse and repeat. That's what it is.
Well, that's not pertinent to what
I
we're
want to cut
dealing
in
with.
here. I assume you heard what I was saying, that you have done a lot of what we asked you.
Yes,
But
I have. I did.
unfortunately, you keep on opening up new areas rather than just saying, here's my septic system, I'm gonna put it in, I'm gonna cover it, I'm gonna plant grass and get it over with all at once. You do everything piecemeal, and there's always open fill that's gonna run out. I don't know if it goes, I mean, I did, last time I was there, I
well,
did not see it running down your driveway. It runs through the shrubs somewhere, and I wasn't gonna go crawling through shrubs looking for it, but it came off the piles. You've got to get rid of those.
What piles?
Level
What
it
piles?
out.
I had one pile in the back that I still have back there now, which is loom, and I have a sock around it to contain it. I had a pile in the front of my yard, which was contained because I had silt fence in front of that to contain that. As far as getting things done, I mean, the board shut me down when I was just about to start. I had to reapply for my septic design. I had to do all that all over again because the town shut me down and it took time. It was during a pandemic. We had the COVID pandemic. It was when this all happened. Things don't happen overnight, unfortunately. So, I mean, there's only so much you can be done in one day, in 1 week. The town is closed on Fridays. Also, I mean, they have 4 days. Do we not get a chance, to take a little bit of time to get things resolved? Also, it takes time. Like I said, things don't happen overnight. We've been working at it, and I didn't open up the whole entire place at one shot. You're right. It's been sections. I did my service first. I let that grow in. Then I did my water service. I let that grow in and contained it. Now I'm doing my septic system. It was a lot of money all at once that, unfortunately, I don't have an endless bank account where I can just say, okay, everybody can just get it all done in a month or so. No, it takes time, and that's the reason why it's taking as long as it has. I've been doing it in stages, what I can afford, and doing things as I can afford. With all the extra expenses that been thrown my way to maintain this, it's taken time. That's all I can say. I've been moving this project along. I've been cooperating. When Charlie goes out there, yeah, I might not be happy that he's out there. I know the reason why he's out there, because it's a constant phone call every time it rains from Bill, and he's going out there. It's a hassle for him. It's a hassle for me, but I have been cooperating. I have been doing everything that's asked of me, and then some.
Okay, Lisa, what is on the next request from us, from the commission, to do a determination? Lisa?
So he needs to file an RDA, and he said he hired, who did you hire?
Well, the RDA is what I spoke to you today about, right? With
we've been
with
talking
Proline.
about that.
Was that the Proline one?
Right.
Barberry. So because I wasn't getting.
Proline's gonna do an as-built, an existing conditions plan.
No, it's actually not Proline. It's the person that's working for Proline, George Aeu, because he's the one that did the original one. Who I actually have, and I can forward you the emails.
Sure.
I contacted him, and he according to his email, he's going to work on it this weekend. So I will forward that to you so that you have it, and you can see that, again, we are moving this project along, and I'm doing what's asked of us.
Did you say something about putting down some?
Yes, seed. I put seed in the back.
The netting.
Oh yes, in the front
that's
yard.
very important, because
in the front yard.
You need that across the whole front yard.
I'll send you that picture right now, also, so you have that on file. We put.
Where did you put that down?
On the front yard where the slope is. Okay, before right closest to my house, closest to the house from the septic system. I didn't put anything on a septic system. I put one layer across the front of the septic system. I didn't cover the whole entire thing because I ran out and I got to get more. But I covered majority.
So when is that going to be done? After the rain?
What?
The rest of it.
The rest of it.
When is the septic system? When's the whole thing done?
I wish it was already done this weekend, but I know we're getting rain. We have rain tonight. We have rain tomorrow. I'm trying to get.
You had your last inspection,
and next week light rain. If you could get it done and cover it with loam in between, and use the light rain to start your seed, even if it's just mix it in with a lot of fast growing.
Well, I actually already, not to cut you off, but I actually already seeded the front on top of the septic. Even though the septic's not complete as far as all the way around it, the 15 feet, I believe, is what is required. I covered the top of it already with seed. I covered the front.
What else needs to be done to the septic system? Can you just explain it quickly?
From my understanding, 15 feet of dirt around the whole septic system from the actual septic piping is what I was told. I have the south side already with the 15 feet. I have the east side already with the 15 feet. I have the north side. I don't need any coverage there because it's going up the hill. That's done. All I have left is the west side of the septic system is what I need to bring the fill in. I need to bring fill in to
Which was delivered.
bring the fill in so that I can fill in that 15 feet. As far as the septic,
Did you add bales along
I
that
did.
driveway? Like, okay.
Yep, I will send you those pictures also. I was actually there today and relocating the bales so that way any rain, if it washed anything down, the bale of hay would stop it.
I hope so, because I'll be getting the calls. I mean, not saying that he shouldn't call me.
Mhm.
Anyone sees a problem in town, they should call me and contact me that they see the silts. But, I'll probably be getting a call tomorrow, and I hope I don't. I hope if you could just try to be there tomorrow morning to try to figure out if there's any silt coming off, that would be really helpful.
Okay. I will try to be there tomorrow morning. Again,
Jim, when is it supposed to stop raining?
Right now, it's heavy rain tonight, tomorrow morning, and then during the day, it's going to gradually get lighter. Maybe a 1/4 inch tomorrow. But the heavier rain tonight, and then next week, we're going to have a couple of days with 30 to 40% chance.
I saw showers into Saturday morning.
Yeah, showers, okay, but they're not giving any amounts. So that usually means something light, right, Jim?
Yeah.
Okay, but 1 inch tonight, 1/4 inch tomorrow, and then showers, as you're saying.
I heard like 1.5 inches total.
Yeah. But mainly tonight.
Yeah.
I just like to reiterate, I seeded the back, I seeded the front. I'm actually picking up some wetland seed and putting that along the western side of the house this weekend. I'm doing that. I mean, again, I'm going to keep on saying I've been cooperating. I mean, maybe Bill might not feel that way, but I feel that I have.
Did you already get the wetland seed?
I'm actually picking it up. I called up site 1. I'm picking it up.
Lisa, is wetland seed the best, or would just a ryegrass be better?
Well, where he needs to toss it, wetland seed, it's in the valley between the two houses on the western side.
Because that's going to require to be wet all the time, whereas ryegrass is going to come up quick and then mix it in with other seeds so that you have, because you don't want annual grass. You don't want annual.
Not a bad idea to mix in some ryegrass with that, if you can pick some up of that too. I mean, whatever you can do to try to stabilize. Like I said, I'm really concerned about that stone wall, and I want to know the height on it. I want to know if it's over 4 feet, because if it's over 4 feet, that's a building inspector's curve. Yeah, they need to, Jim Aguirre needs to regulate that. Retaining walls apparently can't be built over. If they're over 4 feet, they're in his jurisdiction. So
well,
I'm concerned about
when I measured it, it was not 4 feet. I didn't have 4 feet on that retaining wall, on that stone that I have there. It's not 4 feet. I know that because for a fact, I measured it.
How tall is it?
3'8" top.
Okay.
You guys can go there with a tape measure. I did.
Okay. So as it stands right now, we are going to get a request for determination from you. Am I correct?
Correct.
You hired a consultant, and he's going to be in contact with Lisa.
No,
You have seeded, and you're going to put more seed down. Now, have you loamed it as well? Because you don't want the loam to, and the loam is under some kind of netting so that it doesn't run off.
No, he doesn't have it all.
I have the loom in the back.
Yet.
Okay. All right. Because we don't want that to run off. Let's see. Okay. All right. So we're getting somewhere, and let's hope that seed comes up and grows strong quickly.
So there are piles and piles of dirt in front of that hill that he has with his septic system.
That's
That's
what
the
he's
septic
saying. He
system.
needs the 15 feet. He has to build 15 feet out on on all sides of it.
Now is your septic system is in, correct?
That is correct.
So why can't you spread that sand or that fill out?
It's loam.
Okay.
Yeah, it's been
Okay.
sitting there for days.
Well, I needed that to put around my septic system. It's serving a purpose, the purpose of holding my septic system. So my other debris besides silt doesn't run into your pond.
Oh.
Okay, so, but you will work with that as soon as possible and get
Yes.
and get that part seeded. Okay.
Yep. I actually have the top of this septic system already seeded. I seeded it this weekend. The top of the septic
Okay.
system, the front yard and the backyard is all seeded.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
So Paul,
Yes.
are you gonna spread some straw like we talked about across the site? Because that needs to be done as soon as you're done seeding.
I have those blankets, I can't even name it, but the blankets down on the
But
erosion
I don't
blanket.
think, I think you're gonna need some more of those. So take a look at the area that it covers and, yeah.
All right. If I will put down hay, I mean, that's no big deal, putting down the hay.
I mean, preferable, the blankets are the preferred erosion control method, but if you have straw, the straw's gonna work good too.
Okay. I'm actually gonna send you those pictures right now of the front yard.
And I'm really concerned about it tomorrow and
Tonight, actually tonight and
Tonight.
early tomorrow, yeah. Okay, well, then tomorrow and Saturday.
Charlie,
Something we
all
go
we
off-
get
oh,
is a
there we-
spotlight from your house.
No, that's not Charlie.
what is it?
It is Charlie's spotlight.
Oh, yeah.
Lisa, I just sent you that email, the picture
Okay.
of the front yard.
All right.
Okay, all right. Lisa,
Hasn't
you
come
will be
in yet.
going there maybe Tuesday to check, to see it, how things are, maybe Tuesday?
Yeah, I'll definitely go on Tuesday. I didn't really realize until today that Monday was a holiday, so I almost came to work.
Yeah.
You could still go to
You've been up a
work,
long
nobody will be
time,
there.
Lisa. We're gonna have to wrap this up.
You can still go,
Okay,
yeah.
all right. Are we finished here for tonight?
Oh,
With,
no, we're not. We're not finished. Oh,
No,
that
no, I
just
meant
came in.
with the Hot Street.
So what's the
I think we're
conclusion?
going in a positive direction. And we only got one more thing on the agenda.
Oh, yeah, two more things.
So
Thank
what's
you.
going to happen to our wetlands? Now, everybody else got their wetlands taken care of. Are we going to get ours taken care of? That's my question.
I don't know. We're trying to be preventative, and we know that it hasn't
late.
happened in the past. To say we're gonna do something for what has already happened, it's not this commission's.
Oh, yes, it is, Jim. Absolutely. It's something that happened in the past and has to be fixed, just like Reed Brothers, just like Horton Street.
But okay, so this is what we're dealing with Paul DeWatt. We're telling him, we're getting him to fix his problem. We're not gonna go in and clean out your pond.
He is. He should be made to clean out the silt that he put in my pond. He should be made to remove it.
I don't think that is the commission's responsibility. I know.
Absolutely it is. Absolutely it is.
I don't know.
It's
Well, maybe-
absolutely the same as Horton
maybe
Street.
town-
It's absolutely the same as every other wetland violation that you make people remove the material out of the wetlands.
But that's on their property.
Yeah, normally it's on that property.
So it's okay for him to put it on somebody else's property?
It's not okay for anyone to put in any silt in anyone's wetland. It's very complicated at this point.
I think that would be a civil action.
No, it is not, Jim. It's a conservation issue.
Well, there is nothing that I can think of. And I think maybe town council would be the one.
What did
to
you do
ask.
with what did you do with the Reed brothers?
Well,
we're not telling him to clean out the river down by Somerset's pump station.
He's cleaning out his own property. He's not cleaning out the resource area itself.
We're
Kevin, I
making him
couldn't
clean up
understand you. I'm
the
sorry.
junk that he put on his property. This is a whole different scenario that I really don't know an answer to.
Okay.
You should look into it.
Anyone else on the commission wish to chime in on that?
Yeah, I don't know what we can do about it either. I don't recall anything in the act that would help us out either.
So it's okay if it's not okay if he silts up his own property, but it's okay if he silts up somebody else's property. Jim, stop
We
it.
can tell him to clean it.
So
But
can
we
I
can't
say
tell him to
something?
go onto
I
your
did have
property
a
and clean it.
conversation. I had a conversation with DEP about this one. And typically, an NOI is typical. But in a case where someone is cooperating and we don't want to hold up the project any longer, then you request an RDA. There have been cases where DEP has required applicants, proponents to go in and clean up, and it's a court case that would do it. Clean up a wetland, dredge a pond, clean it up.
But is that on their own property or somebody else's?
Someone else's.
But see, we did JP Pavo, the JP, but that was on his own property. He threw refrigerators and everything else in a pond, and he had to clean it out. But so I mean, it's not like it's intent. It's more negligent and overwhelming nature because of, I don't know, I'm gonna call it improper actions. But that becomes civil suit.
No, Jim, the Conservation Commission and all you had to do was enforce the notice of intent, and then
we've been after his tail the whole time, Bill.
He threw you off the property. He wouldn't let you on the property. There was many problems with him. Many.
I never threw anybody off my property.
You
except for
did.
Bill,
I saw
except
you.
for Bill. Really?
I saw
me.
you.
Did you see
you
Bill on my
wouldn't let
property?
Mr. Chairman, you
need
shouldn't
to
let
stop
them.
talking.
All right, folks, we're
Just
gonna.
Mr. Chairman, don't let them.
He's an asshole, and that's.
Everyone should direct the chairman.
Okay, we are going to go with, we're gonna see how it's working tonight. He's going to, Lisa's gonna be there on Wednesday. He's gonna have his agent contact Lisa on what they're gonna do. And we gotta give it some time, because now's the time to grow grass, to get it seeded, to spread that loam seed and get it growing. That's the only way it's going to be solved. Charlie, I see you going on there.
Yeah, I'm
going to let Charlie end it.
Where'd you go, Charlie?
He's done.
What do you need from me?
Do you want, have anything, you made a comment, or you made noises. Do you want anything to say?
No, I just groaned a little bit because this is going on a long, long time and we're
Okay.
chasing our tails.
All right. I would like to move to the next and final item on the agenda, the ATVs at Broad Cove Trail.
That's not the final.
Yeah,
Well,
there's
it's on
two
my
more.
agenda,
There's
it
one more.
is.
I got an email from, okay, let me find the email, sorry. I'm not prepared to move on here. Guess I'm getting tired here. All right, here we go. I got an email from, let's see, David Tibet. My wife and I, it was on March 31st. My wife and I often walk the Broad Cove Trail from Hart Street down to the no trespassing signs on the fence that crosses the old railroad right away, just past the observation platform. We have noticed lately that the ATVs are using the trail and they are coming from the house at 2598 Pleasant Street. There is a sign at the trailhead that prohibits ATVs. The operators are starting to damage the trail with spinning tires and sharp turns. There was also some vegetation clearing along the edge of the trail that enabled the ATV access from the house. David Tibet. So I forwarded that to Tom Ferry and Bill Frenette. And Tom immediately jumped on that, and he ended up bringing out some stone. What are they? Concrete, Bill? What are they? Not concrete? Granite
stones. Granite stones.
Yeah, granite stones.
Large ones.
Large ones from the old bridge, and he lined so that now the kids can't do that. He did a good job. And I noticed when I was out there, the owl boxes are out, which is pretty neat. But I was happy to see that Tom took some action. I guess Tom has gotten some feedback from some people, but I'm not really sure exactly what the feedback is on it. But happy that we were able to rectify the problem, because ATVs are a major problem. I have a son who bought himself an ATV, and I had some problems in my yard with it. But it's COVID and the kid has nothing to do. So what are you going to do? You know, got to kind of look at the whole picture. But in this case, I don't appreciate, and I don't think the commission appreciates anyone using open space for passive open space for ATV use. Too bad there wasn't a place for them to ride. That's really all I have to say on that.
Okay, so that's being taken care of through Tom and blocking. Okay, you said there was another item.
Yeah, the last item is 2371 County Street, which is
I'm sorry?
along 2371 County Street along the railroad right of way. Bill and I had seen a violation, several violations along that railroad right of way. I had brought it to Todd's attention, and Todd said it was, and this was a couple months ago, I brought this to your attention. Todd said it was also a building issue, building commissioner issue. So apparently someone contacted Brett about it, and Brett wants us to move forward. The reason, and it wasn't because we didn't think it was important, the reasons we haven't moved forward on it was because Todd, Jim, and I all needed to sit down and write a letter together because there were multiple offenders along that area. But 2371 County is the one they wanted us to focus on. So we need to issue an enforcement order, and we need to vote on that. I can type it up tomorrow and have it ready for Tuesday to issue to them.
Okay, and the
Is it
person.
what, construction debris? What's back there again? I forget.
Yeah, construction debris. I mean, I can show you my screen. I planned on showing you guys some photos tonight, but it would have just taken so much longer to keep doing that. So
So it became
This
a
is a
dumping site for
marathon
multiple
meeting.
people?
what is it?
It became a dumping site for multiple people?
No, well, multiple properties are dumping in there, like 2 or 3, and then someone has filled, and there's a stream, an intermittent stream that connects to a catch basin that connects to the river. So that's not a good thing. Yeah, this one, 2371, they're dumping construction debris. They're obviously using it for more, it's not yard waste. There's a lot of various crap in there. So we need to issue an enforcement order, cease and desist on that.
Who's the name on that?
I don't want to say the wrong thing at this point. I'm kind of tired, so let's see.
Okay.
Yeah. I got the whole map on that.
Oh, well, if we just, Bill, you were there, you want to make the motion to send the enforcement order?
Yeah, it's a Whitmore, right? Whitmore. Of course, yeah.
Do we have a motion to issue an enforcement order?
I can't hear you very well, Jim. If you were talking to me, I didn't understand you.
Do we have a motion, since you went with Lisa, do we have a motion to issue an enforcement order to 2371 County Street for filling building materials, et cetera?
Yeah, I'll make that motion because the selectmen suggested we should.
Is there a second?
I'll second that. Okay,
Who was that? That was Jim?
that was Jim.
And Charlie, yep.
Oh, okay, all in favor? Bill? Yes.
Aye.
Charlie?
Aye.
Jim?
Aye.
Let's see.
Is Jack still here?
No,
I don't think so.
He's been gone
But
for a couple hours.
Yeah, okay, so that's majority. Okay, Lisa, you're good to go to write it up.
All right, I'll do that. Send it certified or maybe drop it off. Actually, you know what? On second thought, Todd wants to do this all together, so I'm gonna bring it to him on Tuesday.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes. Yes, Nancy?
I saw 2 letters today. Stormwater Committee will be acting on this next week. And the health agent has a letter, Board of Health. And I believe the plan is to deliver this in hand with a constable or a police officer.
Okay.
It was decided not to do it today or tomorrow because Monday's a holiday. And people are going to be calling into town hall and it's going to be closed. So I believe they're going to deliver it on Tuesday.
Okay, Lisa, you can give them the paper and
I need to get signatures from you guys first.
yeah.
Okay,
If you don't get enough, you as the agent could do it because we have officially adopted this in the meeting and we could just verify it.
yeah,
But yeah, I'll come in and sign.
okay. Sounds good. I can get it to you guys if you need me to.
And then they can all be delivered at the same time.
Yeah, I'm gonna go out to Hart Street anyway, so Bill, I could bring it by, okay? Charlie, I can bring it by on my
Sure.
way in. All right.
Okay. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
yes. I've motioned that we adjourn at 10:52 PM.
And I second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.